This is Cerebral Cinema. Movies of the mind.
Sam Spade Detective Agency?
Me.
Sam, it's you.
On the filter and in the flesh. Any messages, phone calls, letters, telegrams?
Just the usual. A bill to the landlord and a notice from the telephone company.
Well, dispose of them as usual.
You sound awfully chipper. Have you been on a case, Sam? Did you make some money?
Yes, I've been on a case. No, I did not make any money.
Oh, your client got murdered before he could pay you?
Wrong again. My client was a woman. She did not get murdered, and she could pay me.
Huh?
And she did.
But you just said she didn't.
True, Effie, true. Things are not what they seem.
Well, I'm a little confused. You just said that...
And I meant every word of it. Stop registering bewilderment. All is paradox. So, sharpen your pencils, straighten your seams, get out your notebook, and prepare to be confounded by the contradictions I shall contradictate to you during my report on the honest thief caper. I'm not looking over for the clover.
Sam. Oh.
Look alert, girl. We've many things to do. Up.
Yes. You say the strangest things on the phone.
Don't I?
I don't believe I quite understood what it was all about.
A natural misunderstanding. I didn't understand it myself. Date?
To...
Sergeant Frank Nilgus, robbery detail, San Francisco Police.
From Samuel Spade, license number 12756.
You're fast today. Subject, Ben Comiskey.
Who?
Ben Comiskey. Comiski.
Sam. I went to Albert High School with a boy named Ben Comiskey. Is he the same one?
Very likely, yeah.
Oh, Sam, tell me, did he turn out bad? Is he good? Did he get married?
Down, Effie.
Sam, I knew
There.
this boy. I want to know.
This is one mystery you're not going to solve by reading the last chapter first. Dear Frank, it was one of those days. The sky was black and it looked like rain, but when I put on my trench coat, the sun came out. At breakfast, it looked like I'd ordered fried eggs, and I wound up with pancakes. Also, I discovered I was wearing one blue sock and one black one. After that, I gave a cab driver a 5 instead of a 1 and let him ride off with the change. And there was one other thing.
Sam, bank just called. You're overdrawn.
They're nuts, Ev. I made a deposit 2 days ago.
I checked, Sam. You didn't.
You're nuts, too. I made out the slip myself, and
Oh. Give me, Sam. I'll take it right down.
Yeah, better do that, Angel.
Yes. Excuse me. Oh. Can I help you, miss? Is this Mr. Spade?
Come right in, miss. Sit down. Miss Perrine, you may go and do that. Instruct them that if such a mistake occurs again, I shall take my account elsewhere.
Yes, sir.
Now, please sit down, Miss...
My name's Louise Miller, Mr. Spade. I want to hire you. How much will it cost?
Well, now, Miss Miller, let's talk about it a little
I
first.
haven't much time, Mr. Spade. I have to be at the office in a half an hour, and I have to cross town. You see, Well, Mama thinks I should forget all about him, but I can't, and Well, here I've got $95. Will you please do something? Just something.
Come on now, come on.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. Now, who is he? What's he done? And why does Mama want you to forget him?
Ben Comiskey. We were going to be married pretty soon. We even picked out our furniture.
No. It's all right now. Go on. What's he done?
They say he held up a store 2 nights ago. They picked him up on the street today. He's in jail.
Mm-hmm. Well, if he's innocent, I'm sure they'll find that out.
He won't even see me, Mr. Spade. He won't see anyone. Ben's good and kind and sweet, and I love him, and I want to marry him, and I want you to find out why, what it's all about.
Look, Miss Miller, I think you should be in the office of a good lawyer. I'm sure
He doesn't want a lawyer. He won't even see the public defender. He doesn't want anything. Oh, please, Mr. Spade. I just want to die if Ben went to prison. I just want to die.
I'm no sentimentalist, but faith is a thing we're a little short on these days, so we came to terms. It was agreed she could pay me after the job was done if there was any job to do. She left for work, and I phoned you, Sergeant Nilgus, and found out Ben Comiskey had already been arraigned and was being held in the city jail. When I dropped in 20 minutes later, you walked me back to his cell.
What's it all about, Sam?
Dunno, just looking into it.
He won't tell you anything.
No?
Kept his trap shut all the time he's been here. As far as we've been able to find out, no previous record, no background.
Well, maybe it isn't so bad for him at that, huh?
First degree, Sam. Liquor store proprietor, a man named Potter over on Army Street, identified him in the morning lineup. Just like that. Picked him out of a dozen guys we hauled in.
Then what?
Yeah, we send a couple of the boys out to Comiskey's room and find all the dough in the dresser drawer, 900 clams. Yeah, here you are, son.
Now what?
Take it easy, Comiskey. This is Sam Spade. He wants to talk to you.
Ben Comiskey was tall, dark-complexioned, about 29 or 30 years old. His hair was black, straight, and closely cropped. His features were regular, not good, not bad. I've seen plenty of hold-up men and gun-toters in my day, and he wouldn't have been cast in the part in my movie. I didn't know what I expected to say to him or what I expected him to say to me, but I didn't expect what I got.
What are you trying to do? Get out of here.
He just got here, Ben.
Well, you can just leave. Hasn't a citizen got any rights, even in jail?
Well, they start to lose them when they use a gun to make a living.
I don't want any lectures.
I haven't got any to hand out. I'm a private detective. A friend of yours hired me. She thinks you're a pretty nice guy.
Louise, huh?
Why won't you see her?
She's nuts. She ought to have a head felt. What's she worrying about anyway?
I'd say she was worrying mostly about you. And I'd say it's the sick kind of worry that gets into a girl when she loves somebody.
She shouldn't. She's nuts.
You said that. Did you rob that store?
The guy who runs it says I did. I suppose I did.
Why?
For laughs.
The complaint says you make $65 a week in an architect's office. You can eat on that.
Look, Spade, go back and tell her this. I didn't want furniture at $10 a month for the next 80 months. I didn't want a car the same way. I didn't want her working and me working and getting nothing but wrinkles. Tell her I got caught and to go and find a guy who can pay the way.
Is that all?
That's enough.
You're charged with armed robbery in the first degree. That means not less than 5 years.
I know it. Shut up about it.
Why'd you turn down a lawyer?
Hadn't you heard, Spade? They're holding up my indictment. I'm a prize pigeon. They think maybe I knocked over 10 or 12 other places in town.
Did you?
Sure, but don't worry about me. And tell Louise not to worry about me. I've got $1 million salted away, and I'm going to buy my way out through the DA's office.
Okay. Have it your way, Ben. But an hour later, I found myself strolling around Ben Comiskey's old neighborhood. A man named Gabrini, who owned a grocery store, remembered him and liked him. A woman in a bakery shop told me how he'd gone into the Army as a private and been discharged a first lieutenant. A phone call to a Mr. Henderson, Allied Architects, revealed that Ben Comiskey was in line for a raise and promotion. All in all, I was getting a composite picture that didn't look quite right. I decided to try his mother's place. It was on Lombard Avenue, a street that starts on the waterfront. According to the penciled note above the doorbell, it was out of order. The slot on the mailbox read, Mrs. Anastasia Comiskey.
Yes. What is it, please?
You're Mrs. Comiskey?
I'm busy now. I fix lunch for my son. He come back from Cincinnati. Please.
Oh, Mrs. Comiskey, I'm here to talk to you about Ben. He's your son, too, isn't he?
Yes. Ben is my son.
Well, I'm trying to help him, Mrs. Comiskey.
Why? He has no money. I have no money.
A friend of his, Louise Miller, hired me.
Oh, Louise, she's a foolish girl. Very foolish. Her heart should not be with Ben.
I think he's a very lucky man to be loved by somebody like that.
If not for her, Ben would not be in jail, in trouble. Oh, you don't want to help my son. She don't want to help him. She'll leave him alone if she want to help. Ben is bad. Not good like my son, James. James is always good. Times he's away, he sends me money.
From what I hear, Ben's always been pretty good, too.
Always one good son, one bad son.
What's going on, Mom?
Oh,
Who's this?
he's come to ask questions about Ben.
Huh? I'm Jim Comiskey, Ben's brother.
Oh, my...
You run on in, Mom. I'll talk to this gentleman. All right. Get out of here.
Look, I'm just trying...
If you got any questions to ask about Ben, go to the police. They can give you all the answers. And stop bothering my mother. She's been through enough in the last 2 days. If I catch you around her again, I'll break you in half.
The man who slammed the door in my face had the same angry look and the same angry glare of Ben Comiskey. The angry Comiskey brothers definitely wanted nothing that looked remotely like help, it seemed to this casual observer. I went back to my office to wait for 6 o'clock. That's when I intended to call my client, report my opinions, and drop the case. But at 5:30, she called me.
Mr. Spade,
Yeah?
this is Louise Miller.
Oh, yes. I was just going to call you. I'm afraid I haven't been able to do much. It looks like...
I know, Mr. Spade. I just telephoned downtown. Ben pleaded guilty at the indictment this afternoon. He's going to be sentenced tomorrow. And
that, to all appearances, Sergeant Milgus, was the crop. But 2 hours later, and for the second time in one day, I found myself doing what I didn't think I'd be doing. Walking around a dull, gray, 2-story apartment house on Adams Place. My ex-client's address, to be exact. I was wondering what a lonely, distraught girl would be thinking the night before her boyfriend was shipped away to prison. I found out. I got a whiff of it as I walked down the hall. It was coming out from under her door. I had to use my shoulder. The room was acrid and stinging with gas fumes. And Louise Miller was stretched out on the floor in a 6-foot kitchen. When I picked her up and carried her out, I wasn't sure whether she was dead or not. Ten seconds after I'd found Louise Miller, I'd called a police ambulance, and in a matter of minutes, an intern was working over her with a pull motor. Her breathing became regular, and her pulse picked up, but she was still unconscious. Lieutenant Kelsey of Homicide showed up and said it was obviously a suicide attempt, which is his kind of ingenious thinking. I thought not. If she were going to commit suicide, she wouldn't have called first to pull me off the caper. She'd have let an insignificant detail like that take care of itself. No, she was too strong to pity herself and too sure of what her intuition told her to believe even Ben Comiskey's confession. With that kind of faith, I owed it to her to poke around the ashes while they were still hot. I did, and turned up a live coal in a faded blue shirt and wrinkled brown pants. Bert Singleby by name and by vocation, manager of the Greystone Arms Apartments.
What kind of a girl was she? Oh, nice, clean, sincere. The kind mothers always want their sons to marry. Boy, I wish I'd listened to mine.
Yeah, did you know her boyfriend, Ben Comiskey?
Oh, salt hors d'oeuvre.
What?
I can't understand him pulling a hold-up like that. But then, the war, it did strange things to
Yes, I guess it did.
Oh, I almost stayed in Europe and married myself up to a French doll myself.
Yeah, I bet.
But Sandra, that's my wife. She'd have hunted me down in Tibet. It was easier to come home facing music.
Yeah, well, about Louise, you know any reason why she might commit suicide?
Frankly, no. I met her in the hallway tonight, and she said, Mr. Singleby, she said, Ben didn't do that hold-up because I'm pretty sure I know who did. Well, I figure she's just keeping up a front. But if she did really know that Ben didn't do it, she wouldn't have turned on the gas now, would she?
No, she wouldn't. Did she tell you who she thought did it?
No, that's all she said. She's a quiet girl. Not like my wife. Now, Sandra.
Yeah, did you see or hear anything that might have been suspicious or unusual around her apartment tonight?
Now, look, I don't want to go around breaking up any homes or spreading dirty gossip around. Unless it involves Sandra's relatives.
Mr. Singleby, I promise you, sir, that I'll treat any information you give me confidentially as long as I can.
All right. Now, listen. Sandra told me not to say anything because it's a lot easier to rent a suicide apartment than a murder apartment. You know that? Confidentially, I'm a humanitarian. But if you tell anybody I said this, I'll just lie about it.
I'll never tell a soul.
Well, we were out of butter, see, so I had to run down to the store. Well, when I passed the mailboxes outside, a guy is standing there. He asked me which apartment Louise Miller was in, and I said 12B.
What do you look like?
Oh, let's see now. 5'10", medium build, tan suit, dark shirt, sort of a wide-brim hat, kind of flashy.
Mm-hmm.
Wore 3 or 4 big rings, diamonds they looked like. 3 or 4 big diamond rings on each hand.
The Iceman. Why didn't you tell all this to the police?
Bert, who are you talking to? Don't you dare say a word about that poor girl.
That's why. That is why. Sandra always says, keep your mouth shut and you keep out of trouble. But me, I don't know. I just love to
Bert,
talk.
stop talking so much and close that door.
Yes, Sandra, dear. I'm closing it.
The Iceman. I'd heard about him for years, a Chicago import, but I'd never bumped into him before. He'd been headquartering at the Red Spot Cafe, the kind of a place that Skid Row winos visit when they want to slum. It was dark inside, but I strode manfully to the bar.
Yeah? Something?
The Iceman here?
What do you want him for, huh?
He's a friend of mine.
You're a friend of whose? What are you giving me? You got bull written all over you from the top of your stupid head to the bottom of your flat feet.
He had the tan suit, the flashy rings, the dark shirt, and a wide-brimmed hat. He stared at me with eyes that were icy and insolent. He rubbed the knuckles of one hand into the palm of the other as if he just ached for a chance to bruise them, which I was sure he did. 4 guys sauntered over to lean on the piano, and as ugly as they were, I knew it wasn't a barbershop quartet. 2 more left the bar and stood behind him, and a few others got up from nearby tables and joined the group. I should have brought my team, but I hadn't.
You're a friend of mine, huh?
Well, if it isn't Claude Bettering, the juvenile delinquent of 1940.
Is that so? Now, you're a real brain. Who are you, Brainy?
Sam Spade.
Oh, now, ain't that a pretty name? You got something on your mind?
I just wanted to talk with you about what you did to a girl named Louise Miller tonight.
Never heard of her. Sounds cute, though.
Girls are a lot easier to push around, aren't they, Claude?
Call me Ice.
Claude?
Some guys are just as easy as some dames. Where have I been all night tonight, fellas?
Here, Ice.
You heard that, Spade? I've been here all night. Any of you guys ever hear of a Louise Miller? No. Sorry, nobody ever heard of her, see?
Well, she has a lot of friends who have. The police, the people down at Mercy Hospital, and me. And none of us are going to forget her. Or what happened to her. And who did it.
Got something you'd like to do right now, maybe?
Yeah. But I'll pick my time.
All right. Enough of this cheap chatter. I don't want to be seen talking with you too long. I got my reputation to think about. Now blow before I take one hand out of my pocket and push your stinking face back through that door.
You'll need both hands, Samson.
Go on, you creep. Fellas.
All right. As I went rapidly through the door, Claude Bettering was standing, oily smile and all, polishing a couple of his oversized rings on his lapel. It was a picture I said I wouldn't forget, and I didn't. I went and rented myself a car, parked it down the block from the Red Spot Cafe, and waited almost all night. I knew that Louise Miller was not the kind of a girl who would have anything to do with a guy like Bettering. And if he came to her apartment, this must have been for some unloving purpose. Probably to keep her from telling who actually did the holdup Ben Comiskey had confessed to, if she found out the truth. Finally, a bunch of palookas came out, Bettering included, climbed into a car and drove off, me after them. One by one, Bettering dropped his men off at their hotels and apartments until he was finally alone. He stopped at a brownstone on Hobart, and I caught him just as he opened the door of his apartment.
Well, a tough guy.
You're going to find out.
Don't think I'm easy.
And he wasn't easy. He was 3 inches shorter and 25 pounds lighter, and wherever he had picked up his reputation for toughness, he earned it. But I never enjoyed a fight in my life any more than that one. I batted him to his knees and then to the floor, and he still wouldn't give up.
You stinking creep.
Why did you beat up Louise Miller?
I didn't.
Why?
I didn't.
Why?
I didn't.
Why?
I...
The apartment house manager identified you.
He's a liar.
Who did you do it for?
Nobody.
Who?
Nobody.
Who?
You stinking creep. I'll push your face.
Who? Who?
Push your face.
He went out. Quite a guy, the Iceman. I used his phone to call the police and tell them to pick him up for attempted murder. Then, with dawn coming up and my energy going down, I went back to the city jail, got a pass, and woke up Ben Comiskey.
Why don't you stop messing around in my business, Spade?
Did you ever really love that girl of yours?
Get out, you sadistic jerk.
Well, she's in Mercy Hospital now. You can send her a card. Write something nasty on it. So long.
Spade,
Yeah?
what's she in the hospital about?
What do you care?
Tell me, please.
Somebody turned on the gas in her apartment and tried to kill her. It's nothing, really.
Please. Who did it? Who did it, Spade?
I think it was a guy named Claude Bettering. They call him the Iceman in certain circles.
But why?
That's what I'd like to know. Who's Bettering?
I don't know.
Your girl believed you were innocent, Comiskey, but you said you weren't. My guess is that somebody figured she knew something and tried to shut her up. I think Bettering was hired by somebody.
Spade, look, I don't have any dough, see? But I want to get out of here. For one day. Do you know anybody who could raise the bail? I won't skip, and I'll pay back anything you want.
Why?
I gotta see somebody.
I don't think I can. Who do you want to see?
My lousy, dirty, low-down, no-good brother.
He hired Bettering?
Who else? He did everything. He's always done everything wrong. He held up that liquor store, but he's on parole, a 2-time felony offender. One more rap and he'd go up for 20 years. I did this for him, yeah. Look at me. I did it for him, and he tries to kill my girl.
Your mother said he was a good boy, hard-working, lived in Cincinnati.
Me again. I told her all that. She believed it. I started the whole stupid lie and had to go through with it. I could explain 2 years, 3 years to her, but not 20. He promised he'd go straight. He promised.
I see.
I even sent her money I earned and said it was from him. Oh, you never saw anybody like me before, did you?
No, I haven't.
Get me out. Get me out, Sam, and I'll drag him in by his back teeth.
Thanks anyway, but I'll do it myself.
Spade, let me do it. Let me do it, please.
I drove over to Mrs. Comiskey's house and knocked on her door. She came out in a housecoat, hair mussed, and sleep still in her eyes.
Yes?
I'm sorry to bother you at this hour, Mrs. Comiskey, but is your son home, Jimmy?
Jim, no, he went out last night. He didn't come back yet.
I see. When do you expect him?
Well, he didn't say.
He didn't have to because I saw a closet door move and I was in and across the room. In a second, I pulled the door back and Jim Comiskey came out, gun and all.
Jim, you're gone crazy.
She hurried across the room, threw herself between Jimmy and me, and started wrestling the gun away from me. He put one hand flat on her face and knocked her halfway across the room. I went at him. He shot, but it went into the ceiling. I didn't give him a chance to do it again.
Don't.
You held up the liquor store, didn't you?
Yeah.
And hired Bettering to kill Louise Miller?
Yeah.
And you're going to take your own rap from now on.
Yeah. Yes, I will.
And he did. Period. End of report.
Oh, Sam, that poor old lady.
Yeah. Yeah, she lived in a dream world built by a son who had too much heart and not enough common sense.
But, Sam, that man in the liquor store identified Ben as the hold-up man.
Well, when he saw the both brothers together, he realized he'd made a mistake. At night, with a hat pulled down and a collar up, anybody could have confused the Comiskey brothers.
Sam, why is the world so cruel?
Because people live in it. Now, go on, type it out, huh?
Well, here it is, Sam. And if you don't mind my saying so, it's a lesson to everybody.
If you say so, Ed.
Honest, Sam, I'm just infuriated.
No, don't go too far.
Misplaced love, devotion, it just isn't right.
Now, hand me the glass.
Well, this kind of thing could be going on all over the world.
The glass,
If it weren't for people like you who step in and take things in hand.
The glass!
Oh! Here you are, Sam.
Thank you, Miss Brain.
Honestly, Sam, well, just honestly, that's all.
Are you finished?
Well, I have some sociological feelings, too. I'm just not an automat, a secretary you turn on and off with...
Come here. Come here.
With each new case, I have feelings.
Effie, I just kissed you.
I know what...
I just kissed you.
Oh, Sam.
Delayed reaction. Must be the heat.
Oh. Good night, Sam.
Good night, sweetheart.
The Adventures of Sam Spade, Detective. Brought to you transcribed by Wild Root Cream Oil Hair Tonic, the non-alcoholic hair tonic that contains lanolin. Wild Root Cream Oil. Again and again, the choice of men and women and children, too.
Sam Spade, Detective Agency.
Me, sweetheart. Any calls, messages, alarms, or excursions?
Just one, Sam.
Which?
Well, I suppose you might call it an excursion, Sam. He left some literature.
Travel agent, eh? Well, a little trip somewhere might be nice. I feel as if I could sleep forever.
Oh, Sam.
Well, I'm not going yet.
Oh, Sam, you mustn't talk like that. I've been sitting here reading this booklet, and it says it's later than we think.
It can't be. My watch says 3 minutes to 9.
Now, there, you see, it is later than we think. I was slow, too, till I said it by the radio.
Well, pick it up and set it in your favorite chair. I'll be right down to dictate my report on the Overjord Caper, or Happy's Folly, or Who Put the Corpse in the Murphy Bed.
What?
Dashiell Hammett, America's leading detective fiction writer and creator of Sam Spade, the hard-boiled private eye, and William Spear, radio's outstanding producer-director of mystery and crime drama, join their talents to make your hair stand on end with the adventures of Sam Spade. Presented by the makers of Wild Root Cream Oil for the hair. Ah, June, the month of vacations for all the family. Here's hoping you've planned yourself a good one, and that you'll remember to take along plenty of Wild Root Cream Oil Hair Tonic. In spite of heat and winds, Wild Root Cream Oil grooms your hair neatly and naturally, relieves annoying dryness, removes loose, ugly dandruff. Ask for it in a big, economical family-sized bottle and handy tube that's easy to pack in your suitcase. Be sure to ask for it by name. Wild Root Cream Oil Hair Tonic. Again and again, the choice of men and women and children, too. And now, with Howard Duff starring as Spade, Wild Root brings to the air the greatest private detective of them all in the adventures of Sam Spade.
Sam, you poor darling.
Don't say that word again, Effie.
I didn't mean in a financial sense, you darling.
There you go again.
I meant we poor mortals, as it must to all men, Sam. We're all clay-footed, after all, merely leaving footprints in the sands of time.
You need a vacation, Eth. Maybe you better take that excursion.
No!
Now, don't act like that. I'll hardly miss you.
Oh, Sam!
Now, come on. Let's see those travel folders. Where are they?
Oh,
Here we are. Plan now for that long, long journey. Our carefree layaway plan relieves the burdens of those left behind. Well, nice of them to think of me. Luxurious accommodations. Funny-looking stateroom. Why does that bunk have a lid on it? Let's see if I'll explain it here somewhere. Our special nylon-tufted, couch-type model with chrome-plated magnesium handles and lightweight alloy liner has been called by many satisfied customers the pallbearer's friend. Well, who brought this into my office?
his name was Converse Etheridge.
What?
He's with the Dardanella Mortuary.
Don't mention his name in my presence. That man has no live friend.
Now, Sam, don't be too rash on him. After all, it's his living.
He is a worm in the apple of contentment, a roadblock in the highway of life, a meter in the taxicab of happiness.
Are you ready, Sam?
No!
I already have the date, Sam. To whom is this addressed?
To Mrs. Joy Overjord. No, you better make that George Overjoyed. Mrs.
I'll make up your mind, Sam.
I said Mrs.
Yes, Sam. But is it Joy Overjord? Or is it,
It is Judge Overboard.
Now, wait a minute. Just let me get this straight, Sam. I have Judge Joe.
Mrs.
Oh. Well, to avoid any further confusion, Sam, wouldn't it be just as clear to address it as Mrs. O.G. Judge?
The name is not Judge F. It's Overgorge. George.
Now, wait a minute, Sam. Now, wait a minute. Let's be very, very quiet for just a minute.
Now, look here. I won't have you putting the blame on...
Now, wait a minute.
All right. Mrs. George Overjord.
Hyphen?
If it'll make you happy,
Thank you, Sam.
From,
Yes, Sam. License number 127596.
that you can get. Subject, your jewelry. Dear Mrs. Overjord. Enclosed, you will find my statement for services rendered, which you will no doubt be as surprised to receive as I am to be sending it. It started, as such things often do, with that curse of civilization, that broken spring in the couch of privacy, the telephone. Yes?
Mr. Spade?
Speaking?
This is Mrs. George Overjord. That's Overjord.
I have it.
I'm staying at the Hotel Belvedere, Mrs. Spade. Mr. Stover, the house detective, was good enough to recommend you.
Oh, then he's good for something.
I beg your pardon?
A good friend of mine, Mr. Stover. And what was it you had in mind, Mrs. Overjoyed?
George. But you're Walt. That's my first name.
I beg your pardon.
Joy.
Oh, I got it wrong. When you spell it out, I thought...
I think you better come over here right away, Mrs. Spade. I have a rather serious problem to place before you. These little details can wait.
Of course.
And come right up. I'm in room 315.
Mysterious women with strange sounding names. Blow the man down. 315. 315. It's better. Knock.
Who's there?
Mr. Spade.
Just a moment. Come in.
Oh, pardon me.
Come on in, Mr. Spade.
Whatever you say.
Sit over here, won't you, please?
Oh, yeah, sure. I'll just bring this...
Oh, don't bother with the chair. I'll make room here.
Oh. Thanks.
Here. Now. Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
Oh, don't worry about George. He's on a gray line tour and won't be back for hours.
George?
Yes, poor dear, he's my husband.
Oh, well, Mrs. Overjoyed...
You're sweet. Call me Joy. I feel that since you're a detective, you'll know my secret sooner or later. So why hide anything?
Well, what are these? Feathers? Tickle.
Sort of.
No.
Now listen, Sam. To begin with, my husband must never know.
Yeah, well, Oh, all right then. Yeah.
About the jewels.
Oh.
You see, he gave me the money for a floater policy on the necklace, and I was naughty.
You were.
I sank it in a wild mood. Sam, are you listening?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Sure, yeah. You sank somebody's mink. Tell me, where does you want to go for the night time?
No, Sam. I sank the floater. So now it isn't insured and it's gone.
Ran away, huh?
Not the mink, Sam, the necklace. What shall I do?
Yeah.
It's worth $30,000.
At least. But what about your husband?
He'll be awfully angry. He's an absolute bog on insurance. And he'd be very upset if he knew I was not fully covered.
What time did you say that Gray Line bus gets back?
Sam, we just can't while away precious hours. We've got to find that necklace. My husband... Oh, darling, you're not comfy. My husband...
Who? What?
But, darling, George Overjord is the richest man in the state of Wisconsin. He'd be very hard to replace.
You're absolutely right. Husbands should be kept in that place.
Sam, if you don't take more interest in this problem, I'll just have to get another detective.
Huh? Oh, no. Hey, don't do that.
Now, what? What are you looking for?
The telephone. I want to check those Gray Line bus schedules. Around 5 in the p.m., after we phoned room service with some sandwiches and a pitcher of martinis, I got my assignment. It seemed that the hotel thief who had made off with the necklace had been surprised red-handed and had dropped the rest of the swag, valued at around $100,000, while making his getaway. My problem was to recover the necklace before, quote, George, unquote, tried to put in a claim on it and found out it hadn't been insured. I agreed that it might be smart to put the rest of the jewels in the hotel safe under my name. This I did. About then, somebody breathed down my neck and said,
Hello, darling. Hello.
I froze. A second ticked by before I even had courage to turn around and face him. It couldn't be, but it was Pfeffy Valeriu Eminescu, a con merchant so slick that he finally swindled most of his competitors out of business and even succeeded in selling himself in the oldest con game of them all, the Spanish prisoner game. The last time I had locked horns with him, yellow diamonds were turning white faster than the hair of the policeman he was suing for false arrest. Pfeffy's hair was still very black and very oily, and the big smile he wore was very white and very oily.
Sam, darling, do not look so shameful. I am angry on you.
You're not angry on me.
You can fool with part of the people some other time, but you can't fool Fatty for long. You did a trick on me to lure me out from San Francisco. A gold mine, you promised me. A gold brick mine. But you see, I am humorous. I don't hate you. In fact, I am contrary.
You are.
And just to prove that I have no harbor of hard foolings with you, listen. What do you think of this one?
Never mind.
We buy a printing press. And what are we pressing?
Your luck.
No. Tickets. Vouchers on the Romanian National Lottery.
Vouchers.
With the Iron Curtain, darling, who could see through it?
Pfeffy, darling, where are you staying temporarily?
I am a guest on this hotel.
I'm sure of that. May I inquire which room the management is losing money on this time?
I think I changed. The neighbors have got noise.
317?
Also the plumbing.
313?
Stop beating around these bushes. What have you caught me doing?
Come on, let's have a look at your room. On the way upstairs to his room, Pfeffy gave me a rundown on the noises in the room adjoining his, 315. On one occasion, according to his story, he'd heard a woman scream, but the rest of it was all in Norwegian. According to him, Overjord was a Norwegian name. But all the same, it sounded fishy, and I don't mean lutefisk. When I gave him a rundown on the missing Overjord necklace, he threw up his hands in anguish and said,
Oh, Sam, darling, I think we'd better have a couple of drinks and talk over this.
Sit down, Pfeffy.
Aren't we thirsty?
No. Look, Pfeffy, how did those Jimmy marks get on that connecting door?
Jimmy, now I see it. Not only do those Norwegians have noses, they have bad habits. And this a crime from you.
Pfeffy, why would the Overjords break into their own room from this side of the connecting door?
Don't interrupt me. I am thinking.
Where does that door lead?
To the bed.
A bedroom?
Don't speak on it. Don't go near it.
What's in there?
A monarchy.
Let's have a look.
Sam, darling, I don't want you to get hurt.
Pfeffy, are you threatening me?
Worse. I am warning you.
That makes it easier.
Send down and go. Remember, Pando?
Oh, be quiet. And that, Mrs. Overjord, is when if I had to live over, I wouldn't have taken the case for all the fish in Norway. The Murphy bed that flew out at me as I opened the door was occupied. The occupant was wearing a dark blue suit, a conservative tie, a small white chrysanthemum in his lapel, and a peaceful expression on his face. He had a very healthy color for a dead man.
The makers of Wild Root Cream Oil are presenting the weekly Sunday adventure of Dashiell Hammett's famous private detective, Sam Spade.
Tonight, for the first time, Wild Root announces a big double bargain combination package to introduce amazing new Wild Root Liquid Cream Shampoo. Here it is. You get a 60-cent bottle of exciting new Wild Root Liquid Cream Shampoo, plus a 60-cent bottle of famous Wild Root Cream Oil Hair Tonic. A $1.20 value for only 59 cents. It's a wonderful chance to get acquainted with brand new Wild Root Liquid Cream Shampoo. The shampoo that combines the best features of liquids and creams and soapless cleansing, plus soothing lanolin. A shampoo that leaves your hair beautifully clean, soft, radiant, easy to manage. Remember, this big double bargain combination package contains a 60-cent bottle of the popular new Wild Root Liquid Cream Shampoo, plus a 60-cent bottle of Wild Root Cream Oil Hair Tonic. A $1.20 value for only 59 cents. But the offer is limited, so don't miss out. Go to your drug or toilet goods counter today or tomorrow, sure, and ask for Wild Root's big double bargain combination package. A $1.20 value, only 59 cents.
And now, back to the Overjord Caper, or the corpse in the Murphy bed. Tonight's adventure with Sam Spade.
As I stood there looking at that well-dressed corpse on the Murphy bed, I asked myself some leading questions. Who was he, for a start? Had my client's husband returned from his gray-line bus tour and stumbled into the wrong room? And then what was really my client's problem? To recover an uninsured necklace or get rid of an insured husband? And what was the function of Pfeffy? Was he an accomplice, a goat, or a body snatcher? At that moment, he was in no condition to tell me because he had fainted dead away. When I had revived him...
Where are I?
In a bad spot, Pfeffy. Now stop clowning and try to make sense.
Make sense? Why not? You never saw a man so sensitive. But frankly, I am discouraged. Help me up.
Now look, Pfeffy.
I am looking. You realize what means that joker who's finally resting on my morphine? I will be deported to Bucharest.
You should be so lucky.
Lucky? A Romanian in Romania? At the mercies of thieves, gypsies, and Hungarians?
Okay, Pfeffy, you don't want to go home. I do. The ticket for both of us is my client's missing necklace. Did you swipe it?
Necklace? Who necklace? Darling, talk about him and I listen.
Don't worry about that stiff. He'll keep.
What about I? He is comfortable. But where will I sleep?
In another city, if you're smart. Now, don't bother to check out. Just drop your bags out the window, hang the Do Not Disturb sign on the door, and dissolve. That should give you about a 24 hours head start.
But that would be dishonest.
I know, but it's a sacrifice you have to make.
Okay. Here. Take the necklace.
That's better. And you better take my advice, Pfeffy. Start packing. Like I told you, that corpse is in good shape, but you're not. There was nobody home in room 315, so I glass-keyed my way in and had a look around. I turned up only items that were worth anything. A pair of passports issued respectively to one George Overjord and one Joy Overjord. Also, item and insurance policy with inventory attached on the Overjord jewels. What made that interesting was the fact that the necklace, which my client had told me was uninsured, was there in the inventory. After that, I wasn't at all surprised at what I found in the closet. Okay. Take it easy. I'll get you loose just as quick as I can. Here, I'll get these gags out first. There.
Yours. Are you all right? Yeah, yours.
There you are. Here. Let me help you up.
Oh, my back. 4 hours in that place. Both the ill and
Who did this to you?
You don't know. They jumped on us when we are coming home backward.
What?
Joy! Look at the time. Our boat sails in an hour. If we don't hurry, we will miss it.
Yeah, I can catch. You go now, young man. Thank you.
Yeah, goodbye.
Well, just a minute. I want to get a few things straight. You are Mr. and Mrs. Overjord?
Yeah. But we don't worry. Insurance will take care of all.
Goodbye.
I'm sorry if I'm annoying you, but I'm just not quite ready to leave. Now, if what you had in mind was picking up a little ready cash from the insurance company, I'm afraid I'll accept your caper.
Boris?
Again?
In other words, I'm a detective, and I have your jewels.
Yeah, you hear?
Yeah, that is good. Just leave them on the table.
Yeah, good.
Well, it's not quite as good as all that. Before I can hand them over to you, I've got to clear a few things up between you and my client and another guy with a dead man in his room.
We don't know any dead man. Not in California.
We are from old country. Wisconsin.
Oh, well, that's different.
Is that everything yours?
Yeah, yours. Call the bell boy.
Don't be in such a hurry.
Well, why not? The ship don't rain.
Now, look, this will only take a few seconds. I'll have to make a report on this, you see. So I have to know exactly how it happened. Now, you say you just come into that room. Now, you must have been standing about here, Mr. Overjord?
Not so close to the closet.
Well, that's near enough. Now, you just stay where you are. Will you, step over this way, Mrs. Overjord?
Oh, yeah. Hurry, please.
Mm-hmm. Just a little to the left.
There.
Shut up. I'll punch you in the ass for bad dialect.
Oh!
I thought that would do it. Good. And now to meet the soul.
Just a moment. Oh, it's you, Sam.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I heard voices next door. I was afraid to go barging in. Where have you been, darling? A most wonderful thing has happened. My husband left me. He never came back from that gray line tour.
That might be because he never went.
Oh, sit down, darling. There's something I must tell you.
Yeah, but you sit there and I'll sit here.
Darling, you've changed. It makes it so difficult, this gulf between us.
Joy, if I may call you Joy, we must face it. We live in different worlds. It can never be. Cigarette?
I understand. But there's no reason we can't meet occasionally and remain good friends.
Sure, I'll come to see you on visiting day.
Sam, I'm afraid you're making a terrible mistake.
Well, I made that when I took you at face value. Your name may be Joy, sweetheart, but you are not Overjord. Who are you?
Darling, doesn't matter. But I rather like Joy. I think I'll keep it.
Yeah, okay, suit yourself. How does Feffy fit into this caper?
Oh, Sam, darling, it's terrible the way that man deceived me. I should have known he wasn't a Norwegian.
Well, don't feel too bad about that. He thinks he's Romanian.
He told me his name was Overjord, and that it would be all right for me to stay here because his parents were in the adjoining room.
Now, let's get this straight. Feffy checked into room 313. The Overjords were here. I take it you were in 317, all with connecting doors. Sort of fences movement, shall we say.
Well, I thought it rather strange that I never met them, especially after Facer brought me the jewels and said they were a present from his mother for my trousseau.
Oh, now, wait. Before you go any further, Angel, how are you going to get out of that corner without getting paint on your little feet?
Well, he finally told me everything. And that I was as deep in it as he was. That's why I called you.
Why?
I was panic-stricken. I had to get out from under.
And, baby, look at you now.
Well, Sam, you will have to admit that I could have done worse. Unless I misjudged you. We do have the jewels.
Yeah, that part of it's all right, but what about that corpse?
Oh, that was in case Feffy got rid of that necklace before he was caught with it. The police would have something else to hold him on so you and I could get out of the country with the jewels.
How'd you get him up here? Piggyback?
The bellboy helped me. I told him it was my husband that he was stiff.
Yeah, how stiff can you get?
You don't believe me?
Nope.
Oh, I love you.
Stop that.
All right. Go ahead. Talk to me. Why don't you hit me with your fist? You're a big, strong man. I'm only a woman. What have you got to lose?
Look, all I want to know is who put that corpse in the Murphy bag.
How dare you? How dare you make love to me and then insult me and push me around like an old shoe?
Oh, I did not.
I don't have to put up with it, and I'm not going to. I'm going back to Feffy.
nasty. She's a crook, but she loves me. I hate you. Hate you.
Hey, my ear.
You're choking me?
I am not.
I can't breathe.
Darling, what are they doing to you? You deduce this poor girl to her condition?
I guess so. I don't know how.
Come, darling, we are no longer friends. Our relations are short, nil and one. But you, my love, I forgive you. Come away with me. We will start life anew with a better scheme.
But, Bertha, dear, aren't you forgetting something?
Virgil, that old man and that old woman lied to us. They are not Overjord. They are crooks and robbers.
Bertha, no.
I think he's right.
But how did you...
I found them in there and untied them. Instead of phoning the police, they started packing.
So you see, darling, we couldn't take the jewels anywhere.
But why not?
The M&S2 motto inscribed on our family crest. Honor among thieves, except for gypsies and Hungarians.
But, Bertha, dear, I tried to steal them from you.
That was another horse car, my darling. Between you and I is a technical difference. This is known as a double cross. That is expected from a woman. But from you, Sam, darling, I am aghast. I am appalling. You have behaved without charm. I don't hate you, but it is all I can do to forgive you. Come, my lord.
Now, wait a minute.
For what? You have the jewels. You can prove nothing.
There's still that corpse.
Sam, darling, come, I show you. You see?
I didn't. All I saw was a well-made Murphy bed. The well-dressed corpse was gone. When I turned around, so were Feffy and Joy. Period. End of report. Next week, Swedish dialect.
But, Sam.
Yes, Eddie?
Oh, I hardly know where to start.
Oh, P.S. I have turned you, Jules, over to the robbery detail of the San Francisco police, together with Sven and Martha Lagerson, who was still in the closet when the police arrived.
But, Sam, don't you...
Oh, yes, add this. The Lagersons told the cops here that they had worked as household servants in your home in Wisconsin and had hit on their bright idea of making off with your jewels while you were away on a month-long canoe trip through the Chain Lakes, which gave them ample time to make their getaway. They switched passport pictures and used your name to justify their possession of the jewels in case they were questioned. That, plus the insurance policy, complete with inventory, was good enough to fool even the nefarious Effie.
But, Sam...
One question, Effie, no more. But if it's about that corpse, save your day.
Oh.
Go type that up, Angel. I'm still working on it.
And now, listen to this.
Don't delay. Get your Wild Root Cream Oil now, the nation's leading hair tonic with Wild Root's big bargain combination package. For a limited time, you can get a 60-cent bottle of Wild Root Cream Oil hair tonic, plus a 60-cent bottle of Wild Root's sensational new liquid cream shampoo. $1.20 value, both for only 59 cents. Get it today for the whole family.
Well, here it is, Sam. Did you get any place?
Well, there's a couple of fingers left in there. Will you join me?
Oh, thank you. No, I meant a different kind of stiff.
Oh, the one in the Murphy bed. Well, I'm expecting a break on that any day now.
Well, you have a wall-type bed in your apartment, Sam. A similar proximity will inspire you to greater mental thought.
Please, I won't sleep a wink.
That's just what Mr. Etheridge said. But I told him you were busy on this big jewel robbery.
What was his problem?
The man from the mortuary, you know.
That vulture. He is a razor blade in the parachute pack of optimism. He is a sandbar in the river Styx.
Well, as I said, Sam, it's his living. But I promised to give you the message. It seems he wants to find this woman. Now, she did a very strange thing.
Yeah.
I mean, she came into the Dardanella mortuary and said her name was O'Rourke. And her husband was there and that his parents had arrived from Ireland right when he dropped dead. And the Irish relatives were mad because she sent him out for embalming before they got out of wake. And she wanted to know if Mr. Etheridge could sneak him into the hotel before they found out.
Why didn't you tell me this before?
Well, Sam, I didn't want to clutter up your mind when you were busy on a big jewel caper. And besides, he learned that she was a practical joker and got his body... Sam.
Yes, Ed.
Sam, could it... the one in the Murphy bed, I mean. If is the short arm a coincidence, Sam?
Yeah, probably is. You know, everything that happens in hotels doesn't get in the papers. Hardly a day goes by that some joker doesn't plant an embalmed body in a Murphy bed. If it isn't that, it's frogs, there's salamanders, sometimes it used to be crackers when so many of them were on the American plan, you know.
Crackers? Oh, really? Good night, Sam.
Good night, sweetheart.
The Adventures of Sam Spade, Dashiell Hammett's famous private detective, are produced and directed by William Spear. Sam Spade is played by Howard Duff. Lorene Tuttle is Effie. The Adventures of Sam Spade are written for radio by Bob Tallman and Gil Dowd. Musical direction by Lud Gluskin, with score composed by Renee and Pierre Garrigank. Join us again next Sunday when author Dashiell Hammett and producer William Spear join forces for another adventure with Sam Spade. Brought to you transcribed by Wild Root Cream Oil. Again and again, the choice of men and women and children, too. This is Dick Joy reminding you to
get Wild Root Cream Oil, Charlie. It keeps your hair in trim. You see, it's non-alcoholic, Charlie. It's made with soothing lanolin. You better get Wild Root Cream Oil, Charlie. Start using it today. You'll find that you will have a tough time, Charlie. Keep on all the gals away. Hiya, Baldy. Get Wild Root right away.
This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System. WTRY, WTRI-FM, Troy, New York.
Sam Spade Detective Agency.
Me, sweetheart.
Sam, how inopportune. I was just thinking of you.
Me and who else? Both my ears were burning.
No, Sam, no. With regards to our shortage of office supplies.
Don't give it another thought, F. This was going to be a short report.
Short and sweet, Sam?
Hardly, Angel. In fact, barely.
Well, Sam, if you had asked me, I could have told you. That girl was merely trying to stir up a tempest in her boyfriend's teapot.
Again?
It was perfectly observant to me, Sam, that she had sour grapes written all over her.
Sour apples, Effie, but you're warm, and that's why I'm so fond of you.
Oh, thank you, Sam. I'm glad I could be of help, though I must confess the apples are over my head.
Well, don't feel bad about it. That's how Newton discovered the law of gravity. Stay where you are. I'll be right down to dictate my report on the Apple of Eve caper.
Dashiell Hammett, America's leading detective fiction writer and creator of Sam Spade, the hard-boiled private eye, and William Spear, radio's outstanding producer-director of mystery and crime drama, join their talents to make your hair stand on end with the adventures of Sam Spade. Presented by the makers of Wild Root Cream Oil for the hair. Remember the Romeo of yesteryear? Hair parted in the middle, all plastered down? Man, what a difference today. Today, all a guy has to do to impress a gal is use Wild Root Cream Oil Hair Tonic. Wild Root Cream Oil grooms the hair neatly and naturally, relieves dryness, and removes loose dandruff. If you're still using old-fashioned hair tonics or none at all, then for her sake, spruce up today with Wild Root Cream Oil Hair Tonic. In bottles or the handy new tube, it's again and again the choice of men who put good grooming first. And now, with Howard Duff starring as Spade, Wild Root brings to the air the greatest private detective of them all in the adventures of Sam Spade.
Sure. Why are you so nervous?
Oh, nothing, really. I'm just glad to see you, dear.
Oh, I'm glad to see you.
That's all.
Come on, out with it. What are you hiding behind your back?
Well, it's a surprise, Sam. So you just run along into your office, and I'll be right with you.
Surprise, huh? Let me think. Father's Day? No, surely not.
Oh, no, Sam, no. It's just as regards our shortage of office supplies. I do hope you'll be able to mince your words.
What's all that junk you got stuffed in between the pages of your notebook?
Where? Oh, well, Sam, you see, improvisation is a child of necessity, so, to stretch our supplies, I just cut up some old strips of waste paper in case we run out of the genuine.
Well, very ingenious. Shall we commence?
Yes, but not too many corrections, Sam. I'm afraid this eyebrow pencil might not last.
Well, don't bear down on it. Where was I?
No place, Sam.
Date.
I already have that, Sam.
This one goes to. Hey,
Yes, Sam?
the calendar. Where is it?
Calendar? Which calendar, Sam?
You know perfectly well which calendar. It's been hanging there on the wall for 3 years. The one from Harold's Club in Reno.
Oh, that old calendar. It was out of date anyway, Sam.
That calendar was timeless.
It was not, Sam. It was vulgar.
That's a lie. I met the girl who posed for it.
In more modest circumstances, I hope.
Put it back.
Now, Sam, don't.
F, what did you do with that calendar?
You mustn't excite yourself, Sam.
Let me see that notebook.
Yes, Sam.
Uh-huh. Old waste paper, indeed. An art treasure mutilated. And for what? To serve your own base purposes. Just because you were too absent-minded to order a few office supplies.
But I frequently alluded to our dwindling resources, Sam. But no, you were too proud.
Take these and put them in a safe place. You can put it back together with Scotch tape on your own time.
Oh, we're out of Scotch tape, Sam.
We've got a first aid kit, haven't we?
We used to.
Use the adhesive. Date, June 19, 1949. I won't soon forget that. 2, Detective Lieutenant Dundee, Homicide Detail, San Francisco Police, from Samuel Spade, license number 137596. Subject, the Apple of Eve caper. Dear Dundee. The start of it was yesterday when Eve Adams first walked into my office. She was angry, and she was terribly, terribly hurt. In fact, she had a shiner, a swollen jaw, and somebody had bitten her on the arm.
And furthermore, she had the audacity to suggest that there was something shady between I and Mr. Hagen, when it is an item of public information that her and Gort Hagen was washed up practically before they started. And I might just add in passing...
Just a minute, Miss Adams. You say this girl came to your apartment in a jealous rage and attacked you without provocation.
None whatsoever. I never opened my trap to her, except to remind her that it would have been a blessing to the human race if her old man had never met her old lady. And if she thought those 3 layers of pancake on her puss could fool a blind man as to her true age, and seeing as what her mouth was, she should never open it for fear of what might come out.
I see. And the girl's name?
Down at that flea bag where she works, she's billed as Dream of Love. And is she ever a nightmare?
Dream of Love. That's D-R-E-A-M-A?
It says there, but I do not intend to take this episode lying down on my chin, Mr. Spade. Why, if it had not been for the timely arrival of my concierge, that cheap mare would have brained me with my own gin bottle.
I see. Landlady broke it up. And you say she threatened to return with a gun and blast you if you continued seeing Mr. Hagen.
That is a fact. And she is just cheap enough to try some low trick like that.
Mm-hmm. And what do you want me to do, Miss Adams?
I want you should pay a formal call on that dame and tell her that upon the very next occasion of any violence or threats thereof out of her, I'm going to yell cop. In fact, Mr. Spade, I am placing my life and limbs in your hands, and if you are anything of what you're cracked up to be, you will have no difficulty in giving that creepy crow the bum's rush straight out of my life.
Pardon me, Miss Adams. My secretary seems to be calling me.
Out of my way. I know who's in there, and I'm going in. Out of my way. Mrs. Spade, sir, keep her off. You should have hired the 4th Marines, dearie.
Now, ladies. Ladies, please. Break it up.
I'll show you who to get tough with. You're
Ladies.
calling me shamus, or I'll let you have it.
Now, ladies, please. Now, let's talk this over calmly and sensibly.
Okay, you asked for it.
Now, ladies.
Oh.
Please.
Sam, wake up. Oh, Sam, speak to me. Sam.
Oh, no. Don't hit me again. No, you can have the jewels.
Oh, Sam, you poor darling. Here, drink this.
What is it? Tastes awful.
Water, Sam.
Oh. Where'd they go?
Oh, they chased each other down the hall. I thought you'd gone out.
I did. What did she hit me with?
Well, she took a sap out of her purse and let fly before I could prevent it.
Yeah.
But you were still on your feet when you told me to close the door.
Fine thing. Help me up.
Oh, yes, Sam.
Easy.
Oh, when I think of you lying in here unconscious all that time while I went out to lunch.
What?
If anything had happened to you, I'd never forgive myself.
You call this nothing?
Oh, you poor, dear, brave boy. Now, you just sit down and relax. Now, the ambulance will be here any minute.
Ambulance? Don't you know these things cost money?
Oh, I'm sorry, Sam. I lost my head. When I saw you lying there all of a heap, I couldn't help
Forget it. What's that gadget there on the floor?
Oh, it's lipstick. Must have dropped out of her purse when she opened it for the sap.
Huh. Apple of Eve.
It's a ghost color, Sam.
Apple of Eve. Unique Garage, Harry speaking.
Spade, this is Dream of Love.
Keep your distance. Look, you left your lipstick, but don't bother to come after it. I'll mail it to you.
What kind is it?
Apple of Eve.
Sorry, I've never used it.
Good, then I won't give you another thought.
Oh, but you got to. She's dead.
Eve Adams?
Yeah. She jumped into a taxi in front of your building. I went straight after her. but I got caught in traffic where they're tearing up Market Street.
That could be anywhere between the Embarcadero and Twin Peaks. Fine alibi. What comes next?
Well, I'm at her apartment now, and she's dead.
Sam!
Hold on. Yeah, Effie?
There's your ambulance. Shall I send him away? What shall I do
Well,
with
it's
him?
$10 now anyhow. I'll use it for a taxi. Hello, Miss Love.
Yeah?
Stay there and don't touch a thing. I'll be right over. Dreamer hadn't waited, if that was really where she'd called me from. Eve Adams was on the bedroom floor in front of a dressing table. There was broken glass all over the floor. The place reeked of perfume. The front of her negligee was splashed with red. I looked for the wound, but I didn't find any. Then I looked at her hands. All the nails on her left hand and 2 on the right were the same color as the stain on her clothing. Evidently, she'd been seated at the dressing table putting on nail polish when the murderer entered the room. The back of her head had been creased by the well-known blunt instrument, such as a heavy sap. I felt the bumps on my head and looked at the overturned nail polish bottle on the dressing table. It was called Apple of Eve.
The makers of Wild Root Cream Oil are presenting the weekly Sunday adventure of Dashiell Hammett's famous private detective, Sam Spade. Now, here's important news on good grooming. If you want the well-groomed look that helps you get ahead, socially and on the job, listen. Recently, thousands of people from coast to coast who bought Wild Root Cream Oil for the first time were asked, how does Wild Root Cream Oil compare with the hair tonic you previously used? The results were amazing. Better than 4 out of 5 who replied said they preferred Wild Root Cream Oil. Remember, non-alcoholic Wild Root Cream Oil contains lanolin. It grooms the hair naturally, relieves dryness, and removes loose, ugly dandruff. So if you want your hair to be more attractive than ever before, get the generous new 25-cent size of Wild Root Cream Oil, America's leading hair tonic, on sale at all drug and toilet goods counters. It's also available in larger economy bottles and the handy new tube. By the way, smart girls use Wild Root Cream Oil, too, and mothers say it's grand for training children's hair. Get Wild Root Cream Oil. Again and again, the choice of men and women and children, too. And now, back to the Apple of Eve caper. Tonight's adventure with Sam Spade.
Second time around the murder apartment, I noticed something I hadn't caught the first time. Some smears of Apple of Eve nail polish that didn't show very distinctly against the rust-colored carpeting, but left a clear trail across the kitchen linoleum. When I opened the back door, I smelled burning cloth. There was an incinerator just outside, and from it I fished a man's shirt, partially burned. The initials in the pocket were still intact, so were the red stains under them. The initials were G.H. The stains were, you guessed it, Lieutenant dear, Apple of Eve.
Yeah?
I'm looking for Miss Dreamer Love. She home?
No, she isn't.
Thanks. I'll come in and wait.
Hey, wait a minute. You... Okay, you're in. What do you want with her?
She's in a little trouble.
You a cop?
When do you expect her back?
I don't know. What's this trouble?
She threatened to kill a woman, and now she's dead.
Who?
A girl named Eve Adams.
Why would she want to kill Evie?
The way I got it, they were locking horns over a guy named Gorse Hagen. You know him?
Yeah, and I wish I didn't.
Who is he?
He used to run a gambling ship down at Malibu till the law turned it into a bait barge. Now he calls himself a yachtsman. But if you're trying to connect him up with my sister, it's a bad connection. She hasn't seen him in years.
His idea or hers?
Hers? And mine.
Then what was the beef? And who are you?
I'm her brother. Eddie's my name. And why would there be any beef between those two? Evie was my sister's best friend, and she was engaged to me.
Then this news must be quite a shock to you. You're taking it like a little soldier.
She was asking for it. I warned her. I begged her to leave town with me. But no, she couldn't sneak off like that without letting Gorse know the score. I told her he'd kill her before he'd let her go.
Mm-hmm. You live here, Eddie?
Yeah, what of it?
Where do you keep your shoes?
In a closet, kidder. Where do you keep yours? Under the bed?
Which closet? In here?
Hey, wait a minute,
Get
you.
your hands off of me.
Let me see your warrant. It better be good or you're going on a hill on your head.
Take your hands off me, Eddie.
Let's see that warrant.
All right, I got a warrant, Eddie. Here. I didn't find what I was looking for, a pair of crepe-soled shoes with traces of Apple of Eve nail polish on them, but in one of his coat pockets I found a sales slip from a department store cosmetics counter. There were several items, but the one that interested me said, 1 lipstick nail polish set, Apple of Eve. About then, I smelled brandy, and a voice behind me said,
What happened to the kid?
Huh? Oh, he asked for my warrant.
Well, when you come to see me, I'll know better.
Your name is Gorse Hagen. I'm headed for your place right now.
What are you looking for?
A pair of shoes with crepe soles.
What do you want with my deck shoes?
I thought maybe they'd match up with this piece of the shirt with your initials on it.
Give me that.
That's a fact.
Where'd you get that?
In the incinerator at Eve Adams' place.
Well, that don't prove anything. Lots of people got the same initials. Have you talked to, George Howard?
He's alibied. He's out of town.
That proves it's a frame. I don't know any George Howard.
I thought so.
Okay, let's cut out the monkey business. Give it to me.
It's evidence.
Give it to me!
All right, I'll give it to you. I did. He gave it right back to me. I was only losing on points until I tripped over poor old Eddie and lost my balance. That's when he gave me the coup de grace. I wasn't quite unconscious, but somehow I just didn't feel like getting up. And when the apartment door opened, I opened my good eye just wide enough to see Dreamer Love walk in.
Gorse, what are you doing here?
I've come to help you, Dreamer.
I don't need any help from you, Gorse. I told you that 3 years ago.
Did you kill her?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You killed Eve Adams. Why?
You're wrong, Gorse. I haven't seen Evie in ages.
Why did you kill her?
All right, I did it.
Yeah? Why?
I was jealous. Seeing the two of you together after all we'd been to each other. Go on, laugh at me. I committed murder out of love for you. It's very funny, isn't it?
I'm very fond of you, Dreamer. My poor little Dreamer Love. I'd give you anything, honey. The shirt from my back. Here's a piece of it on the counter.
Where'd you...
I see you're impressed. Me, too. Come on, we'll go someplace where we can be alone and talk things over.
Oh, no, Gorse, please. I can explain everything.
Explain in the car on the way down to the boat. Come on.
You're hurting me. Oh! No!
Come on, out the door.
Stupid me, I staggered to my feet and stumbled over to the door. I reached it just as Hagen's car pulled away from the curb. By the time I found a taxi, they were at least halfway to wherever they were going. I didn't know whether the boat he had mentioned was tied up at the Embarcadero, anchored in the marina, moored at Sausalito, or becalmed in Oakland. But there was a seafaring man in our town who knew about such things. My port of call was the Seahorse Bar and Grill just off ahead at Pier 16, or is it the Foot? Captain Pasoldi?
P is silent, son, as in Prasad.
My mistake.
Salty by name and salty by nature. Only one salty thing I can't abide. Saltwater toffee. My teeth, you know. Here, have a lifesaver.
Well, thank you, sir. You're very generous.
No, it ain't money, matey, but it's straight from the mint.
That joke wasn't.
What's up, Sonny? You in the hole again? You catch my drift?
Yeah. What do you know about a yachtsman named Gorse Hagen?
Oh, nicely put, matey. If there's anything lower than a yachtsman, he's it.
Mm-hmm. Where does he keep his boat?
Well, now, she's still afloat. She'll be dragging her hook summers off Sausalito. She's a converted PT, you know. He calls her the Sea Queen.
Mm-hmm.
He had her bottom planks ripped out in the Battle of the Coral Sea, and they patched her up with plywood. Well, she's got 2 diesels, she has, and twin screws, 2-to-1 reduction gear.
Yeah. What's the quickest way of getting out to her?
Well, now, there's not much craft for charter here about this time of night, you know. There's that Novak fella, but just at present he's sleeping 1 hour.
Figures.
Might not be worth your while anyways.
Why not?
Well, Hagen stopped by here 20 minutes ago looking for his engineer. Said he was casting off on-tide engineer or no engineer.
What about your boat?
My boat? Well, now, matey, on a plotted course, she'll stand up to any double-ender Monterey dory in a class.
Yeah.
Without a head sea, that is. Then, on the other hand, you put her in a bottom race, and $1.25 swell.
Yeah. How much?
$5 an hour. And that's with you, man, and the bilge pumps.
Okay, let's go.
This, Hagen fella now. You onto the trim of his sails?
Sails on a PT boat?
Oh, not the boat, Sonny. The man. Cut of his jib.
I didn't notice that, but he was wearing crepe-soled shoes.
I'll tell you about this Hagen, matey. Fella once tried to board him. A customs officer, no less. What's up? Picked him up 4 days later in a gill net with a fish gaff stove clean through his neck. Here, have another lifesaver. You may need it.
After he'd lashed me to my station at the bilge pump, Captain Pasoldi got his double-ender Monterey dory on a plotted course to Sausalito, he hoped, and we plunged recklessly into the fog. As as nearly as I could catch his drift, there was a 50-50 chance that A, Hagen had found his engineer and would be halfway to the Farallone Islands before we could make it past Alcatraz, if we stayed afloat that long, or B, that he hadn't found his engineer and might be having trouble starting up those two diesels with the twin screws and the 2-to-1 reduction gears, whatever they are.
There she lies, matey.
Which one?
Oh, about 5 points to port. The blue one with the high freeboard.
Uh-huh.
You get up on the foredeck, matey. The ladder's round on the landward side. I'll swing round and put you on it.
Hey! Anybody home?
He's likely below, nursing them diesels. You got to rear back and holler, matey, like this.
Ahoy! The sea queen!
I like that.
I know there is 'em.
Captain Salty, board the lugger Crabtree. For supercargo request permission to board, sir. Who is he? Spade. I want to talk to you, Hagen.
Captain Salty.
Blow up down, you clumsy lover. Hit the scuppers.
Where'd he get you?
Don't write the note. Hurts a midship.
Here. How do you run this thing? I got to get you to shore.
That's throttle. There's your forward gear. Now, don't pull her back all the way. She'll die. The vacuum tank.
You lie still. What are you looking for?
Jumper pocket. Lifesaver. In case you need it. I don't know more. Best winds on your after quarter, matey. Remember
Okay,
that.
take it easy, Captain.
Keep her balanced. Don't let your jib ruffle. Keep her on course, matey. Keep...
Hey, Captain. Captain Salty. Sour racket. I crawled over the rail and tried to make out Hagen's silhouette on the other boat. I could just barely make out the shape of the hull against the faint glow of light from the Sausalito shore. We drifted a few yards astern of Hagen's boat, but not out of rifle range. I wondered why. If he could see us well enough to drop Captain Salty, he'd let it go at that. Then I got it. He was listening. Somebody was pulling out from shore in a rowboat. I didn't waste any more time listening. I dug into Captain Salty's jumper pocket, fished out a waterproof pouch. I took his seaman's papers out of it. He didn't need them anymore. Wrapped it around my gun. Then I took off some clothes and eased myself over the side. I didn't swim for speed, but for distance, stopping now and then to make sure the man on the boat was still covering for me. I felt my way around the hull till I found the anchor rope. Just as I grabbed it, I heard him rest his oars.
Hagen, who's that? Eddie Love. What do you want? I've come after my sister.
Go on home, Eddie. She's sailing with me. That's the way she wants it.
You're lying.
Wait a second. Come on out there, Dreamer.
What's happened?
Your brother's down there in the boat. Talk to him.
Well, what am I going to...
Talk to him.
All right. Eddie!
What's he done to you, sis?
I'm all right, Eddie. Everything's all right. Ghost and I have decided... Go on home, Eddie.
He's lying to you. He knows you framed him. If you sail out with him, you won't come back.
No, Eddie.
I'm coming aboard.
Eddie, no. Ghost, please. No, Eddie.
Drop it, Hagen. No. Drop the rifle. Drop you. You're lousy, shameless.
Sam, did he hurt you?
No, I've been kicked in the stomach before. It takes a woman to kick you in the teeth.
I'm sorry.
I don't care what you did. What burns me up, you didn't do it right. I hate a bungler, especially a female bungler.
I'm a bungler. You're the one. It would have worked if you hadn't gone poking in the incinerator. I should have called the police. They'd have known what to do with evidence like that. They've been wanting to get something on Gorse ever since repeal.
Listen, Angel, any flatfoot could have seen through that setup. Eve Adams was sitting in front of a mirror when she was maced. She saw the murderer enter the room. She got it in the back of the head. That means she trusted whoever walked up behind her. That also means the evidence of a struggle was fake.
But the nail polish on Gorse's shirt.
You put that nail polish on her fingers after she was dead, laid that trail to the incinerator with a pair of Gorse's shoes where any flatfoot was supposed to think he'd try to destroy the incriminating shirt. But the dumbest thing you did was lying to me about that matching lipstick you dropped in my office. That made you look guiltier than anybody, because anybody could have planted that fake evidence.
I didn't kill her. I'm not a murderer.
Your brother might have got off easy. Crime of passion.
Oh, please don't say that. I can't bear the thought that after everything I did, it's all come to nothing.
Here. Have a lifesaver. You may need it. Period. And a report.
Oh, Sam. Poor Captain Pasolti.
T is silent, F is in for Sam. Go type that up.
All right, Sam.
Last one in the package.
And now, listen to this. If you want the well-groomed look that helps you, listen. Recently, thousands of people from coast to coast who bought Wild Root Cream Oil for the first time were asked, how does Wild Root Cream Oil compare with the hair tonic you previously used? The results were amazing. Better than 4 out of 5 who replied said they preferred Wild Root Cream Oil. Remember, non-alcoholic Wild Root Cream Oil contains lanolin. It grooms the hair naturally, relieves dryness, and removes loose, ugly dandruff. So if you want your hair to be more attractive than ever before, get the generous new 25-cent size of Wild Root Cream Oil, America's leading hair tonic, on sale at all drug and toilet goods counters. It's also available in larger economy bottles and the handy new tube. By the way, smart girls use Wild Root Cream Oil, too, and mothers say it's grand for training children's hair. Get Wild Root Cream Oil. Again and again, the choice of men and women and children, too.
Here it is, Sam. As far as I got.
What stopped you?
The last page of my notebook going to our shortage of supplies, Sam. But in a way, I'm glad. Because I didn't have to go through it again. I mean, poor Captain Pasolti.
F, please. Please, now, honest, I'll buy you a new notebook, a nice fat one. Would you like that?
Oh, yes, Sam. There's always something so final about final pages of things. When I think of all the risks you take.
To say nothing of my clients. I think I'll put a new sign on the door. Abandon hope, all ye who enter here.
Oh, but I haven't, Sam. Where there's a will, there's a wisp.
There's a what?
A wisp, Sam. Small amount.
Which reminds me, there's a couple of fingers left. Join me? Just a wisp?
Oh, no, Sam. One of us has got to have a clear head.
Well, it'll be me.
All best. Good night, Sam.
Good night, sweetheart.
The Adventures of Sam Spade, Dashiell Hammett's famous private detective, are produced and directed by William Spear. Sam Spade is played by Howard Duff. Lorene Tuttle is Effie. Howard Duff can now be seen starring with Yvonne DiCarlo in Universal International's Technicolor production of Calamity Jane and Sam Bass. The Adventures of Sam Spade are written for radio by Bob Tallman and Gil Dowd. Musical direction by Lud Gluskin, with score composed by Renee and Pierre Garrigang. Join us again next Sunday when author Dashiell Hammett and producer William Spear join forces for another adventure with Sam Spade. Brought to you by Wild Root Cream Oil. Again and again, the choice of men and women and children, too. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System. The Adventures of Sam Spade, Detective, brought to you by Wild Root Cream Oil Hair Tonic, the non-alcoholic hair tonic that contains lanolin. Wild Root Cream Oil. Again and again, the choice of men and women and children, too.
Sam Spade Detective Agency.
Me, sweetheart.
Sam, where have you been?
I've been tasting the bitter with the sweet at Miss Wigginson's School for Girls, sort of a special course in homicidal apiculture.
Apiculture?
Mm-hmm.
There were apes involved?
Effie, where is your Latin? Apis, apianus, of or pertaining to bees.
Oh, bees, of course.
It was a bee caper?
It was a beekeeper caper.
Oh, that's funny, Sam. That's a honey.
Effie, put these words down in your little book. Honey, sweetness, hives, combs, etc. Never mention them again.
What?
Keep things humming, sweetheart, and I'll be right down to drone my way through my report on the queen bee caper.
Dashiell Hammett, America's leading detective fiction writer and creator of Sam Spade, the hard-boiled private eye, and William Spear, radio's outstanding producer-director of mystery and crime drama, join their talents to make your hair stand on end with the adventures of Sam Spade. Presented by the makers of Wild Root Cream Oil for the hair. You know, during the summer, when you spend so much of your time out of doors, it's important to pay special attention to the care of your hair. To keep it right in place, to help keep it from getting dry, use America's favorite hair tonic, Wild Root Cream Oil. Wild Root Cream Oil grooms your hair neatly and naturally, relieves dryness, and removes loose, ugly dandruff. Use it every day. If you've never tried it, ask for it in the 25-cent Get Acquainted bottle, and ask for it by name. Wild Root Cream Oil Hair Tonic. Again and again, the choice of men and women and children, too. And now, with Howard Duff starring as Spade, Wild Root brings to the air the greatest private detective of them all, in the adventures of Sam Spade.
To be or not to be? Hum.
Oh, hello, Sam. Hiya, Sam. How's tricks?
Oh, Effie, really, this jargon, this patois. Don't you think it's about time we spoke like educated people?
You know best, Sam.
Every time I visit one of our institutions of learning, I find out something I didn't know.
Oh, Sam, that's incredulous. Well, you just know everything.
Yeah, I guess I do when you come right down to it. The bee, for instance. Bees are a genus of insects of the Hymenopterus order.
What?
Hymenopterus. Living in society is composed of one queen, or perfect female, a few males, or drones, and an indefinite number of undeveloped females, or neuters, which are the workers.
That's me, I suppose. A neuter.
Well, that's for you to say.
Of course.
And you know what else about the bee?
What, Sam?
Confidentially, it stings. Date, July 10th, 1949, to Miss Elizabeth Cowley, Miss Wigginson School for Girls, Seacliff Drive, San Francisco. I wonder about girls sometimes. And that's bad, Effie. Bad.
Oh.
From Samuel Spade, license number 137596. Subject, the Queen Bee Caper. Dear Miss Cowley. I was singing a medley of sorority drinking songs as I opened the wrought iron gate, walked up the garden path, past those cast iron deer, and presented myself at the big brass bell pull beside that massive paneled door that stands guard between the outside world and your sheltered inmate. A little housemaid wearing dimity let me in and led me to your office. I sat on your chintz-covered sofa and looked at your drapes with their thriving beehive motif and waited for you with my back half turned to the open door. Yeah, hello, how are you?
All right, girls. Break it up. Break it up now. Go on. Haven't you ever seen a man before? Run along now. You'll be late for physical ed. Go on, quick.
Miss Cowley?
No, I'm not Miss Cowley.
Oh, no, of course not. No, I was just hoping.
You're Mr. Spade, aren't you? Glory Thomas. I'm Miss Cowley's assistant.
A nice day, yes.
Mm-hmm. Don't bother to move. I'll lean over you. Put this report on her desk.
Sure.
Miss Cowley will be here in just a minute.
Thanks. So warm in here.
Next time, wear a mailman's uniform and a 50-year-old stoop. You'll find the temperature's exactly right.
Yeah. I mean, yes, ma'am.
See that you do, then. Oh, Glory, there seems to have been a misplacement of some of the hockey. Would you check on it, please?
Oh, surely. Nice to meet you, Mr. Spade.
I'm Elizabeth Cowley. You may sit down.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Spade, I'll be painfully frank with you. A thief is at large in my school.
Oh? Well, you probably have a good answer, but I'll ask it anyway. Why not call in the police?
I have a good answer, Mr. Spade. My girls come from San Francisco's finest and wealthiest families.
Mm-hmm.
Miss Wigginson's has had an untarnished reputation for more than 3 generations.
I'm sure.
As headmistress, I must handle this matter with the utmost discretion. Frankly, I already know the thief. Are there any questions?
Well, only one timid one. Who is it?
I regret to say a faculty member is to blame. Glory Thomas. She was in here a minute or two ago.
Oh, really? Well, why, Miss Thomas, you find any of the loot stashed away in her room?
Well, no. No, not exactly. I haven't recovered any of the stolen articles, but I'm sure Glory's responsible. I'm certain she's the thief.
You're just sure?
I thought perhaps you might establish definite proof against Glory.
You mean you want me to frame her?
Oh, no, Mr. Spade. You misunderstand me.
I don't think so, Miss Cowley.
Oh, dear, I was afraid this would happen. I told Ursula, but then
All right, I'll ask. Who's Ursula?
Mr. Spade, I think I can trust you. It was Ursula who instructed me to call you. Ursula Cavanaugh. You know the name.
The Ursula Cavanaugh inherited all the real estate, lives in Cavanaugh Towers penthouse, hasn't set foot out of there in 20 years?
Yes. Mrs. Cavanaugh is our school's benefactress. She is, of course, on the board of trustees. She is, moreover, a dear personal friend.
Oh, I see.
Oh, yes. We were classmates together here many years ago. Ursula's quite unlike myself. Married well, though a widow now. Rather aggressive. Frankly, she wishes to have Glory Thomas discharged, but her connection with the dismissal must not be known. Now, I don't suppose I can ask you to take the assignment now.
I'm a detective, Miss Cowley, not a frame-up artist. I had to have my name called up from the lobby, and then 2 elevator trips later, I faced her on her penthouse terrace. Ursula Cavanaugh looked like a 1910 stock company lead out of Charlie's Aunt, smoking a black Italian stogie and gripping a cane like a shillelagh. 2 men were on the receiving end of her black snake whip of a tongue. A youngish guy, stockbroker type, and an individual in a morning coat who looked practically nude without a butterfly net.
Oh, you're a fool and a nincompoop, Jelinek. I lost all patience with you ages ago. Not only are you incompetent, but you're also dishonest. Don't mind telling you that when the board of directors meets on Thursday, I intend to instruct them to have...
Miss Cavanaugh, I've tried not to discommode you in any way. I endeavor in every detail to fulfill my responsibilities as manager of this hotel.
Don't interrupt me.
Auntie, I think you've got Jelinek and me all wrong. Now, the truth
The
is...
truth is, Gerald, you're both a pair of thieving scoundrels. Now get out, Jelinek, before your weasel face ruins my digestion.
Very well, madam. I remain at your service.
No backbone, no spunk. And as for you, my dear nephew...
I think I'll toddle along, Auntie. I ought to get back to the office.
Control your little impulses, Gerald. I admire a little larceny in any man, but not at my expense.
I was beginning to think I'd become invisible in that rarefied penthouse atmosphere. She hadn't even blinked at me while Jelinek slunk back to the lobby and Gerald toddled along to his office. The terrace was a riot of bloom. I don't know much about flowers, but she must have had them all there. Off to one side, a little man in a blue smock puttered around a wooden structure on a stand. I'd become aware of bees humming amidst the flowers when she finally spoke to me.
You're Tom Spade, aren't you?
Sam, ma'am, the fun-loving Spade.
Pick your photograph out of the other detectives. Looked like you got spunk. Why'd you come here?
Curiosity. I met Glory Thomas out at Miss Wigginson's. I liked her. I wanted to see the type that would strong-arm her out of a job from a safe distance.
Spunky. Come over here, Mr. Spade. I want to show you something. Piggott.
Yes, ma'am.
That'll do for now. Work at the other end of the garden for the time being.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, Piggott's my gardener and beekeeper. Most taciturn individual. You know what this is?
Well, I didn't, but now I can see it's a beehive.
Yes, my own beehive. Fresh honey from a tea and fruit cake every afternoon.
Fine old tradition.
Observe this hive, young man. Honeybees are the most intelligent of all insects, surpassing even the ants. And why? Because one female controls a community of many, many thousands.
I'm against it.
Yes, Mr. Spade. The queen bee reigns supreme. The males are drones, quite useless. The female workers perform all necessary labor, no waste motion, no dissension.
Well, some of my best friends are drones, and I just can't stand
I think you understand me, Mr. Spade. I wish Gloria Thomas removed from San Francisco for an excellent reason. My nephew, Gerald Long, the young man who just left here, has developed absurd romantic notions about her.
Yeah, so you want the romance busted up. But if you try to break it up openly, your nephew might get stubborn and even marry her. On the other hand, by framing her as a thief, you ward off the affair until you can figure out some other dirty trick.
I knew you'd understand me, Mr. Spade. I admire bluntness in moderation. Well, what do you say to joining forces with me?
Just one thing, Mrs. Cavanaugh. Nuts. Next morning, I put through a call to Miss Wigginson's School for Girls. It had been my intent to talk to you, Miss Colley, to tell you I'd left my hat in your office, but somehow I found myself talking to Glory Thomas. And somehow our talk resulted in a cocktail date at the 10 o'clock Scholar Bar and Lounge.
I shouldn't have come, of course.
Oh, exam papers to grade, no doubt?
Stacks and stacks?
Soft velvet-type hands. Well, what's this on them?
Stain. I teach our girls chemistry, among other things.
How about me taking on a night school class for the other thing?
You're crazy. You don't need any education.
Well, I can always use a postgraduate course.
You're really crazy, Sam. I needed this.
We'll make a night of it.
Maybe.
Gerald won't object, huh?
What's that mean? Who have you been talking to? That hateful old woman?
Mrs. Cavanaugh wants to put the boots to you, Glory. She called me in to frame you.
I could kill her.
Oh, easy now, Glory.
Don't talk to me. I thought I could take it. I thought I could be patient and wait while Jerry ironed everything out, but not now, though. I hate that selfish, domineering old woman. I hate her nephew, and I hate you.
Well, that'll do to start with, honey. Now let's get down my list. I hate...
Oh, let me go. I've had all I can take for one night.
Wait a minute, Glory. Hey, you forgot your bag. Hey! She disappeared around the corner as I came out into the street. It was starting to rain. As I stepped off the curb, I slipped and turned my ankle. As I limped onto Montgomery Street, I saw her disappearing into one of the tall buildings on my side of the street. It could have been the Cavanaugh Towers. I step and a half into the lobby thereof a few minutes later. As I came in, Jelinek, the manager, was getting off the elevator. He swatted himself several times in the neck and then went into a door marked private. No trace of Glory in the lobby. I looked in the bar. She wasn't there, but Albert Piggott, the beekeeper, was having a stinger.
Oop. Now I'm beginning to feel good. Hey, who's this? I know that. Why, it's Mr. Spade. Sit down, Mr.
I don't have
Spade.
time just now, Mr. Piggott. Tell me,
Sit
did
down,
you...
sit down.
Oh, easy.
I'm fired. Have you heard? I'm fired. Just a worker out of work. Turned out by the queen bee.
Well, I'm sorry, Mr. Piggott. I imagine Mrs. Cavanaugh wasn't too easy to work for.
I told her to keep away from the bees when I wasn't there. Well, she's gone and disobeyed me. One of the workers must have stung her. She's got a temper, you know. Ooh, my. Must have smashed the eye with her stick, bees wherever, all over. And then she fired me.
When was this, and why did she fire you?
Just now, maybe half an hour ago. I knocked, and then there wasn't any answer, and then I let myself in. It was all dark. I couldn't even see her. Heard the bees, of course, but couldn't... Who was I? And I said, Mrs. Cavanaugh, you disobeyed me. And in this voice, this awful voice, she said, Mr. Piggott, you're fired. Get out. This awful voice from the dark. And Mr. Piggott, mind you. Never before, just Piggott this and Piggott that. And hey, where are you going? Hey!
I didn't bother to stop at the desk to get myself announced. I took the passenger elevator and then operated the penthouse elevator myself. No hands. Nobody answered my ring. The door was unlocked. I went inside. Crossed through the empty apartment to the terrace. The rain had just stopped and the sunset cut a sudden shaft. First I heard it, the humming of swarming bees. Then I saw the overturned beehive. Then I saw Ursula Cavanaugh sprawled back in her chair, her stick and Italian stogie on the floor, while the bees clustered greedily over the fruit cake and honey set out on the table. I wondered if those most intelligent of all insects had the answer to Shakespeare's question, "O death, where is thy sting?"
The makers of Wild Root Cream Oil are presenting the weekly Sunday adventure of Dashiell Hammett's famous private detective, Sam Spade. Now, here's important news on good grooming. If you want the well-groomed look that helps you get ahead, socially and on the job, listen. Recently, thousands of people from coast to coast who bought Wild Root Cream Oil for the first time were asked, how does Wild Root Cream Oil compare with the hair tonic you previously used? The results were amazing. Better than 4 out of 5 who replied said they preferred Wild Root Cream Oil. Remember, non-alcoholic Wild Root Cream Oil contains lanolin. It grooms the hair naturally, relieves dryness, and removes loose, ugly dandruff. So if you want your hair to be more attractive than ever before, get the generous new 25-cent size of Wild Root Cream Oil, America's leading hair tonic, on sale at all drug and toilet goods counters. It's also available in larger economy bottles and the handy new tube. By the way, smart girls use Wild Root Cream Oil, too, and mothers say it's grand for training children's hair. Get Wild Root Cream Oil. Again and again, the choice of men and women and children, too. And now, back to the Queen Bee Caper. Tonight's adventure with Sam Spade.
Miss Wigginson. Miss Cowley speaking.
Sam Spade.
Oh, yes. You shouldn't have gone to see Mrs. Kavanaugh.
I didn't make any promises, ma'am.
Ursula was quite upset by your visit. Called me after you left her. Quite angry about it, Mr. Spade.
Oh?
She wanted to see me today. Our weekly half-day holiday, you know. But I simply couldn't face her. I'm sorry if I I finally managed to doze off after everyone left for the afternoon. Have you called before?
No, this is the first time. I'm at Mrs. Kavanaugh's place right now.
Indeed. Does Ursula wish to talk to me?
She can't.
I beg your pardon?
It might be a good idea if you'd come over here, Miss Cowley. Mrs. Kavanaugh's dead.
What was that?
Mrs. Kavanaugh's dead. And since you're her oldest and closest friend...
Yes, Mrs. Spade. I'll come immediately.
Well, you came on over, Miss Cowley, but meanwhile, nephew Gerald Long arrived, also Piggott, whom I called down at the bar, and who sobered up with remarkable rapidity on hearing the news. Gerald was shaken up by his great aunt's demise. We waited for the family doctor to arrive and watched Piggott entice the bees back into the hive. You turned up soon after and tried to soothe Gerald's nerves. The hotel manager, Jelinek, also flooded in. The doctor diagnosed cause of death as shock from formic acid, the secretion bees inject into the bloodstream with their stingers. We all stood around thinking our various thoughts as the doc voiced this verdict. Piggott was the one who voiced an epitaph.
She really knew nothing about bees, you know. The queen bee was all important, she thought. But there's always a rebel in every hive. The queen bee is always deposed sooner or later. The worker bees go on and on, but the queen bee can't reign forever.
After that, we all left and went our various ways. Poor old Piggott shouldn't have said that, and he must have been a lot drunker than he seemed, because he was found next morning in his garden in Marin County beside his overturned beehive, a victim like his late employer of fatal bee stings.
That'll make you a fool if you think you'll get away with this.
Don't threaten me, Mr. Long. I've been bullied long enough. I don't intend to lose my position here now Mrs. Kavanaugh's gone. I've taken all I could stand from her, and I don't intend to let you walk all over me.
I'll do whatever I think needs to be done, Jelinek. So if you're trying to insinuate
I
that
can
haven't...
cause you as much trouble as you caused me, maybe more. With what I found out about you now.
Get out of here. Go on, beat it before I break... How did you get in here, Spade?
Door was open.
Well, if you're here to collect any kind of bill, I want to know what services you rendered.
Nothing's rendered yet. But I figured you might like to know that Aunt Ursula was murdered.
Murdered? You can't say that. Not in my hotel.
Shut up, Jelinek. You need proof to back that up, Spade.
I've got it. Piggott.
What? Piggott's dead.
How do you know?
His doctor just called me.
Yeah. Well, that's why I know your aunt was murdered. I've just been out to Marin, had quite a session with that doctor.
Well, where's your proof, man? Who'd want to kill her?
Well, oh, stop it. Practically everybody who knew her.
Really, now, I must protest this disrespect to the memory
Shut
of the...
up. Go on, Spade. Go on. Start getting specific.
Well, specifically, Piggott's doctor, because of what I suggested, examined the dead man again, found the mark of a hypodermic, plus the fact that a concentrated solution of formic acid killed Piggott.
Pigot's next-door neighbor said he'd been stung as often as 10 and 12 times a day. That meant he'd built up a certain immunization to bee sting.
Are you suggesting that someone murdered him with an injection of commercial formic acid?
I thought I'd made that fairly clear.
And what would the motive be?
To keep him from talking about his employer's murder.
I see. Well, is that all?
Yeah, except that his neighbor told me somebody answering your description called on him this afternoon.
Mike? Oh. Well, yes, but Spade, look here, I can explain that.
Allow me. Hello.
Gerald, hello, darling. I'll be through in about an hour. I just got to check supplies in the chem lab, and then I'll be home and show you what a cook I am. You better be
I'm
brave.
sorry, just a second. Here's Gerald. For you, Gerald, your wife.
Oh. Hold on a second, honey. Spade, look here now. You can't drag her into this thing.
When did you get married?
Yesterday afternoon.
Husband and wife. No testifying, huh? Well, I don't think I'll need your testimony. Jelinek's face fell 4 inches into his ascot tie as he heard himself lose exclusive hush money rights to the above information. Pausing only to enjoy a hearty laugh at his discomfiture, I went on to my next and final port of call, Miss Wigginson's School for Girls. This time there was no girlish tittering as I entered, Miss Colley. No dewy young Amazons clutching hockey sticks in their grubby little hands. For a very good reason, as you told me.
My girls are dismissed for the day, Mr. Spade. Because of poor Ursula, of course. Really disrupts our routine. First our weekly half-day holiday yesterday, and now today.
Yeah, I'd like to talk to Miss Thomas in the chemistry lab she is, I think.
Very well. I'll take you to her. She knows nothing of our first meeting.
I've talked to her.
Oh, well, in here.
Yes? Oh. What do you want?
Thought we might talk.
There's nothing to talk about.
Well, we could talk about this hypodermic needle.
Put that down. I'm using it for an experiment.
Or, how about a formula, HCOOH or CH2O2?
What? That's formic acid.
Mm-hmm. Miss Colley, you said yesterday was a half-day holiday. Did Miss Thomas stay here in school?
Why, no. She rarely does on Wednesday afternoon.
That's why Mrs. Cavanaugh had a visitor, didn't she, Glory?
Did she?
After you ran away from me?
All right. I did go up to see her. I was so mad about what you told me. I intended to hand in my resignation and give her a piece of my mind, and but she was dead when I got there.
Oh, Glory, no.
And I just got panic-stricken and ran.
Yeah, murder's a pretty scary thing.
Murder? What do you mean, Mr. Spade?
Mrs. Cavanaugh died from a hypodose of formic acid. Somebody familiar with chemistry would use that method.
Then that could mean...
Mm-hmm. The acid could be made up in this lab. The hypodermic could be this one here.
I didn't kill her. I didn't.
You say you were scared. You were so scared you ran all the way to City Hall and married her nephew.
So you found out?
Jelinek found out first. He intended to squeal the old lady, but she was dead when he got back. He knew her will disinherited Gerald if he married without her auntie's approval while she was still alive.
We married after she was dead. But that didn't matter. After I saw you, I told Jerry if he was any sort of man, he'd marry me, will or no will. He did.
And yet this morning he drove over to Marin County to see old Piggott.
You think he was trying to shield me. I tell you, she was dead when I got into that room. I don't know anything about Piggott.
One moment. I believe I recall that Mr. Piggott said Ursula spoke to him when she discharged him. Glory, you must be mistaken about the time you entered that room. She couldn't have already been dead because...
Yes, she could have and was. The killer was almost caught by Piggott. She hid behind the curtain in the dark and spoke to him. Miss Cavanaugh was already dead, but...
I see. Mr. Piggott thought it was Ursula's voice, but it was yours, Glory.
No, it was yours, Miss Colley.
What?
You committed both murders. You had access to the murder weapon. You had the half-day holiday to do it in.
Mr. Spade...
Even at that moment, the finishing school schoolmarm had to say Mr. Piggott.
Well, I'm not sorry for it. Ursula misused her power shamefully.
And now the queen bee's deposed again.
You're brighter than most men, Mr. Spade. You, too, understood the significance of Mr. Piggott's remarks last night.
Yeah, I could have been a little brighter, a little sooner. You helped give yourself away when you asked me if I'd called you earlier yesterday afternoon.
Why, Sam? How could she?
Well, Cavanaugh bullied her since childhood. Then you came on the staff and your ability scared her. The queen bee being deposed and whatnot. When Cavanaugh wanted you framed, she saw a chance to get rid of both of you. She hoped her murder would look like an accident, but if it was recognized as murder, you'd be the logical suspect.
Oh, you're much too clever, Mr. Spade. Let's get it over with.
Yeah, let's. It's up to those drones at Homicide from here on in. Period and a report.
Sam,
Yes, Effie?
how come Gerald went out to see Mr. Piggott?
Well, Gerald didn't care about the will, but he didn't want to boot a fortune out the window either. Glory hadn't told him she'd seen his aunt, so he called on Piggott to find out when Piggott last saw Auntie alive. Go type that up. I am completely well, and when you return, we shall Indian wrestle.
Certainly, Sam.
And now, listen to this. Shopping note. Tonight or tomorrow, get a family-sized bottle or handy tube of Wild Root Cream Oil, America's favorite hair tonic.
Good night, sweetheart.
The Adventures of Sam Spade, Dashiell Hammett's famous private detective, are produced and directed by William Spear. Sam Spade is played by Howard Duff. Lorene Tuttle is Effie. The Adventures of Sam Spade are written for radio by Bob Tallman and Gil Dowd. Musical direction by Lud Gluskin, with score composed by Renee and Pierre Garrigang. Join us again next Sunday when author Dashiell Hammett and producer William Spear join forces for another adventure with Sam Spade. Brought to you transcribed by Wild Root Cream Oil. Again and again, the choice of men and women and children, too. This is Dick Joy reminding you to
Get Wild Root Cream Oil, Charlie. It keeps your hair in trim. You see, it's non-alcoholic, Charlie. It's made with soothing lanolin. You better get Wild Root Cream Oil, Charlie. Start using it today. You'll find that you will have a tough time, Charlie. Keeping all the gals away. Hiya, Baldy. Get Wild Root right away.
This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System. WTRY, WTRI-FM, Troy, New York.
Sam Spade Detective Agency.
Finitum est.
Mr. Who?
Finitum est. It is finished. Latin.
Oh, Sam?
What's left of me, sweetheart?
Well, where are you? What happened? Who did it?
Here, everything, and what?
What?
No, I asked you first.
Sam.
Now you're making sense.
Well, did that Mr. Marchus get in touch with you?
Demortuus nil nisi bonum.
Oh, Sam, stop it.
Second year Latin, F. Speak well of the dead.
You mean he's dead?
If you have tears, prepare to shed them now. This one ends up worse than Rigoletto. Have your extra handkerchief ready, get some organ music on the radio, and I'll be down to dictate my report on the tears of Night Caper.
Dashiell Hammett, America's leading detective fiction writer and creator of Sam Spade, the hard-boiled private eye, and William Spear, radio's outstanding producer-director of mystery and crime drama, join their talents to make your hair stand on end with the adventures of Sam Spade. Presented by the makers of Wild Root Cream Oil for the hair. You know, just a little Wild Root Cream Oil in your hair can mean a world of improvement in your general appearance. Just try it and see. See how Wild Root Cream Oil Hair Tonic grooms your hair neatly and naturally, relieves dryness, and removes loose dandruff. Yes, you'll be glad to discover that just a few drops of Wild Root Cream Oil make a big difference. So if you've never tried it before, get the 25-cent get-acquainted size and ask for it by name. Wild Root Cream Oil Hair Tonic. Again and again, the choice of men and women and children, too. And now, with Howard Duff starring as Spade, Wild Root brings to the air the greatest private detective of them all in the adventures of Sam Spade.
Sam, your face. What happened to it?
Many things, F.
But it's also kind of raw. Oh, Sam.
In time, Effie, my wounds will heal.
Oh, I'll bet that Mamie Gagan had something to do with it. I could tell when she came in here that she was going to be...
Demortuus nil nisi bonum.
Huh?
Latin. Speak well of the dead, remember?
Oh, yes.
One thing at a time, sweetheart. Let's get this over with. I want to find a doctor.
Oh, you're so brave, Ben. Carrying on in the face of your face.
Sure.
You won't be satisfied until you just die for your profession.
Yeah, well, if I do, nil nisi bonum, Effie. Nil nisi bonum.
That means?
Latin means, bony knees.
Oh.
Date, July 24, 1949, to Miss Daphne Arlington from Samuel Spade, San Francisco, license number 137596. Subject, The Tears of Night. Dear Daphne, I hope this will clear up a few things in your mind. I hope it'll let you know how you got where you are and what happened to put you there. It all has an illogical beginning, middle, and end. At 3, yesterday afternoon, my loyal secretary and confidant, Miss Effie Perrine, a doll, who has been rehearsing a Cockney play for television, flung open my office door and said,
Miss Mamie Gagan to see Mr. Spade.
I said, cooey. Miss Mamie Gagan looked everything the name implied, from her lately blonded hair to her genuine alligator shoes. I might add, she weighed in at approximately 160 and was in very good condition.
You, Spade.
I am he. Sit down, please.
Ah,
Don't you believe me?
I hate gumshoes. They all stink.
Something in your background. Perhaps as a girl. I'm just assuming that you were one.
All gumshoes are nosy. They talk too much. That's why I don't like them. Here.
For me?
Who else, stupid?
Oh, and it says, pay to the order of Samuel Spade, $100, signed Mamie Gagan, co-signed Johnny McCall. All right, is it good?
You wise guy or something? Sure it's good. I'm the treasurer. Get your hat.
In this weather?
We gonna go see Johnny.
McCall?
Yeah.
Why are we going to see Johnny?
Johnny wants you should do something for him.
What does Johnny want I should do for him?
Come on, Spade. What's the matter with you? He'll tell you.
I just love to hear you talk, Mame. That's all.
All this gassing ain't getting us nowhere. The boss is waiting. Gumshoes talk too much.
Yes, ma'am. Well, maybe we do, but ours is a lonely profession. Mamie led me to a large Cadillac parked in a no-parking zone. She tore the ticket up and ate it. We got in and charged through traffic towards Burlingame. About a half a mile this side of the main highway, we turned off to the left, and pretty soon we were winding up a private road to a fine old colonial mansion. 2 or 3 private patrolmen were guarding the entrance. They all needed shaves. They kind of nodded as we went up to the front door. Naturally enough, it didn't open, but a peep shutter did.
Yeah. It's me, Feely. This is the private keeper the boss wants to see. Open up.
Okay.
How are you feeling, Mr. Feely?
Screw. All kinds of folks around.
This way, Spade. Mamie, I got your peepers.
Okay.
Inside. Here he is, Johnny, flat feet and all. His name's Spade.
They are not.
I know. I picked him myself. Go on, beat it.
I hate gumshoes.
Boo.
Don't mind Mamie. She's kind of bitter.
Yes, she is.
We did a lousy job on her hair last time. It's all streaky.
Yeah, I noticed.
Go on, sit down.
Nice place, Johnny. Nice place. How's the growth?
Oh, ain't as good as running beer, but them days are gone. I do all right. 2 crap tables, 2 faro games, a little roulette in the living room, but I have to be careful.
Yeah, you seem to have plenty of muscle outside to keep you safe and comfy.
Punks, all of them. But the best I can get nowadays, no good gunsels left. Guess they all got married and settled down or something.
All right, Johnny, it's cool and it's nice out here. You make a living, and I got a check for $100. Why?
Well, in my line, I don't generally have much use for a private eye. I don't generally like them.
Neither does Mamie.
But I can use one right now. Ever see this before? No? Well, it's a little bit of necklace.
Necklace case.
Called the Tears of Night or something.
Yeah?
And it's worth quite a chunk of Geetus. These 4 diamonds are good stuff. Dame named Daphne Arlington left it here a week ago when she went in for a plunge at the roulette table. She left it for a standby till she raised the cash. Oh, screwy dame. You know, a widow with a lot of money. Boyfriend named Lenny Eppich. He paints or something. Well, she sent me a check today for the 5G she lost, and I just want you to take this thing back to her.
That all?
Yeah, that's all. I got my dough, she gets a necklace. You're a licensed bonded investigator, insured, it's safe with you. I couldn't trust any of my punks with it, and I don't like to be seen in public, so you just take it back. It's all very simple.
Uh-huh. Now that you've told me how simple it is, suppose you give me the unexpurgated sequel. Did her check bounce?
All right. You want a drink? There wasn't any check, Sam. She called me a couple of hours ago and said if I didn't have this thing back to her by tonight, she'd call a load of cops and come out here and tear the joint apart.
Not such a screwy dame at that. You're stuck.
You telling me. If she comes with cop, I'm closed for season. I'm getting old.
Oh, you're not old, Johnny.
Feely was running the table, and I didn't know he'd taken this thing for security until we counted up.
Stupid Feely.
I should have pushed his mush in or something. letting a dame like that make us a setup?
Well, maybe you'll do better next time.
Oh, ain't gonna be no next time, Spade. Well, here's her address. Here's the ice. Just take it to her, and I'll chalk it up to experience.
You better get yourself a new boy at that table, Johnny.
You telling me. You telling me.
Well, bye.
Lenny, I thought you'd never get here. The performance begins at 8:30, and you know how the traffic is, and if we're going to have a bite to eat... You aren't Lenny. Where's Lenny?
I don't know, Miss Arlington. I'm supposed to deliver some jewelry.
Jewelry? That would be Mortius. Mortius.
Mortuous. Yes, but I...
What are you looking at?
Your throat.
Really? Well, really, Mr.
Spade, Sam Spade.
Well, really, Mr. Spade. I'm only waiting for Lenny to get here so we can make the first curtain of streetcar. And we're going to be late if he doesn't get here. You can understand that, Mr. Spade.
You're going to be a little early. Streetcar doesn't open until Monday.
Well, already, and he hasn't shown up. Well, good night, Mr. Spade.
Hey. The white ermine cape you were wearing and the black strapless thing needed a touch, but you had it. A diamond necklace. In fact, the Tears of Night, the same one I had in my pocket, Daphne, was hanging around your lovely neck. I rebuzzed your buzzer and knocked on your door for quite a while until it was quite evident that you were not going to open up. Under the hallway light, I snapped open the necklace case. Mortuous, you had said. And mortuous was what it said stamped inside the case. A gloomy word with a gloomy address. The White Hotel on Turk Street.
Hannibal Mortuous. At your service, sir.
If ever a man had the look of death, it was this one who had its name. He was older than old, cadaverous, and in his skull-like head, his eyes were white. He was wearing a flannel nightshirt.
You find me a bit indisposed, Mr. Spade. The clerk at the desk said it was a matter of jewelry. Therefore, Hannibal Mortuous is at your service. Now then, sir, what is so urgent?
I came to ask you about a diamond necklace. I found your name stamped on the inside here.
House of Mortuous, most respected name in diamonds, as well as all the lapidary arts. Most respected. Fine jewels, and the name Mortuous is synonymous the world over. I am the last of 4 sons. But continue, Mr. Spade.
Well, I just want you to take a look at this.
And how do you come in possession of the Tears of Night, sir?
Well, a man named Johnny McCall, who runs a gambling club, hired me to deliver it to a lady named Daphne Arlington. She lost it at the roulette table. She left it there until she could raise the cash.
Deplorable conduct on her part. Daphne Arlington, most indiscreet young lady, to be sure. I recall my interview with her when her late husband, Sidney, ordered this necklace. A lovely body, propelled by a ridiculous mind. For shame, such conduct, a gambling house, the Tears of Night, a pawn.
Well, this is real, then? It isn't phony?
Mr. Spade, I am a gemologist. The House of Mortuous. Of course, it's real.
Take a good look.
When an artist creates a dazzling thing of beauty such as this, would he be so unlikely as to forget the time, the patience, the agony of his creation? See how each stone is carefully mounted to capture every single pinpoint of light. An incomparable masterpiece. And for the money.
How much money?
Well, the wholesale market, about 10,000.
Arlington?
He paid 25, but he had it, as I say, incomparable.
Yeah, well, I saw another one just like it tonight.
Ridiculous. The finest workman at best could only create a crude resemblance. This kind of work demands an artist, sir, an artist. But tell me, Latin en anguis herba? Huh?
Oh, my second year Latin escapes me.
Snake in the grass. Something wrong?
Something wrong, yeah.
You are concerned for the safety of this piece. I have a small safe in my room. You may have the key if you care.
I'll take it with me. Thank you, Mr. Mortuous.
My pleasure, Mr. Spade. Omnia Mortuus bonum vocat est. All speak well of Mortuus, of Panza. Good evening.
In the dismal lobby of the White Hotel, I asked the night clerk for some wrapping paper and 20 cents worth of stamps. It was a hunch, plus the fact that outside in the street I spotted 2 of Johnny McCall's unshaved gorillas. They were looking up at the front of the building. Mr. Mortuous must have switched off his light or something because their eyes suddenly dropped and I saw them separate, one on each side of the front door. With shoulders carefully hunched, I stepped out into the lonesome night. I hoped they would think I was carrying my .38, which I was not. They didn't.
Here's the peeper, Candy. You want to ask him for a match? Candy's nearsighted.
That's too bad.
This him, Ernest? Got a match, Spade?
Yeah, not so close.
Candy asked if you got a match. He's a dummy, Candy. He don't answer.
Got a match, Spade?
What did I tell you? He's a dummy.
He don't look like no dummy.
Take your hands off.
He's a dummy, all right. Ain't you, Spade? See, he's a dummy, Candy. I told him about you being nearsighted, and he wouldn't answer.
He don't talk.
Go on, smart boy. Tell Candy how sorry you are about him being nearsighted. I told you he was a dummy, Candy.
All private eyes like you.
Candy asked you a question. He wants to know if all private eyes is like you.
I don't like no dummy.
We ask questions, and he ain't told us nothing. That makes him a dummy.
Maybe we find out something if we went through his pockets.
Yeah, even a dummy's got pockets. Ain't that right, dummy? Hold him, Candy.
All right, boys. You played the scene real good, and I'll see what I can do for you.
Hey, he talks.
Yeah. Make him talk again, Candy. Make him talk bigger, Candy. Bigger. Bigger.
He talks real nice, but he don't say much. Think maybe he's tough, Ernest?
Yeah, maybe. Hold him up.
See? He ain't so tough.
No, I wasn't. I didn't feel like talking on that quiet little street where the only noise was my face pounding on their fists. I didn't have the necklace anymore, but they had to find out the hard way. The hard way for me.
The makers of Wild Root Cream Oil are presenting the weekly Sunday adventure of Dashiell Hammett's famous private detective, Sam Spade. Now, here's important news on good grooming. If you want the well-groomed look that helps you get ahead, socially and on the job, listen. Recently, thousands of people from coast to coast who bought Wild Root Cream Oil for the first time were asked, how does Wild Root Cream Oil compare with the hair tonic you previously used? The results were amazing. Better than 4 out of 5 who replied said they preferred Wild Root Cream Oil. Remember, non-alcoholic Wild Root Cream Oil contains lanolin. It grooms the hair naturally, relieves dryness, and removes loose, ugly dandruff. So if you want your hair to be more attractive than ever before, get the generous new 25-cent size of Wild Root Cream Oil, America's leading hair tonic, on sale at all drug and toilet goods counters. It's also available in larger economy bottles and the handy new tube. By the way, smart girls use Wild Root Cream Oil, too, and mothers say it's grand for training children's hair. Get Wild Root Cream Oil. Again and again, the choice of men and women and children, too. And now, back to the Tears of Night Caper, tonight's adventure with Sam Spade.
I remember trying to wake up a couple of times. I was dreaming that we were driving along in a giant Cadillac. Big Mamie was sitting on my lap. She was eating a diamond necklace and spitting out cherry pits, which Mr. Mortuus grabbed, looked at through his jeweler's glass, and then tossed into a roulette wheel. Then we had a blowout, and the whole car vanished with everybody screaming, "Demortuous, Demortuous." Somewhere around 7 in the a.m., I began to get a feeling. Several feelings, and all of them hurt. I had been dumped in the grass in a fairly nice neighborhood. In your neighborhood, as a matter of fact, Daphne. And 5 minutes later, I was climbing the steps to your apartment. I thought maybe you'd let me wash my face in your bathroom. Also, you seemed the logical one to question since nothing else made sense. You were sitting in a large chair. The drapes were drawn, the door was slightly open, and only the light from the hall seeped in. You had the phone in your lap. The receiver was off. My guess was right. You were looking at nothing.
Oh, Mr. Spade, it's you. You came back. You've been in an accident.
I don't think you'll need this.
Oh, yes. Well then, Mr. Spade. Well then, I suppose you've met some people tonight who know a great deal about me.
A gambler, a jeweler.
Did they tell you about Lenny Effich?
No.
He's really a dear, Mr. Spade. Quite the nicest boy I've met since Sidney was killed in that horrible automobile accident. Sidney and I had so many things together. I do think he enjoyed being alive with me. I mean, I cried when Sidney was killed. I really did. I cried.
Miss Arlington,
I didn't know what to do. I cried. That was 3 years ago, but now I have Lenny. He's really a dear. I do think that Lenny will be a very prominent artist someday. I do. Lenny asked me to marry him tonight.
He did?
I've been very lonely since Sidney died. Lenny isn't interested in my money. Lenny has some money of his own. What is not? I can't seem to get my tongue adjusted to my mouth. Did that ever happen to you, Mr. Spade?
Sometimes, yes.
But perhaps I should see a correctionist. I'm glad you came by again. I didn't know you were a detective the first time.
Who told you?
Why, Mr. McCall. I really can't understand money.
Please, Miss Arlington.
I know it must be strange to you, but look at them. But some people live for it. Some people die.
Please, Miss Arlington, we can't get anything done.
Look, they do look so funny. So very funny. I've seen them count money. So much money. And I really believe that is all I live for.
You were pointing at something across the darkened room. It took me 10 seconds to find the light switch. Stretched out on your floor, they looked funny, all right. Candy and Ernest. Both of them as dead as you can get.
Hello, darling. Darling, I've been waiting all night. I knew you'd telephone and give me your answer. I knew you'd marry.
Your name, Lenny Effich?
What? Why, yes, but I was expecting...
My name's Spade. I'm a private investigator. I'm calling from her apartment.
Daphne's?
Now, listen. There's been a couple of murders here.
Murders?
She's had quite a jolt. She's going to need you and all the help she can get to bring her out of it. I've called homicide, and it might be pretty rough for her.
I'll be right over.
Bring a doctor.
Right.
And a lawyer. I'm afraid she'll need one of those, too.
I've got a good one. We'll be there. Thanks, Mr. Spade.
He showed up about the same time the crew from homicide got there. Your fiancé's a good guy. He talked fast and urgently, as did the doctor and lawyer he brought with him, and through their combined efforts, you were removed not to police headquarters, but to the private hospital in which you are now a patient. It was obvious from the powder test that you could not have fired the .45 which ended the lives of Candy and Ernest. It was also obvious that the murders had been done elsewhere. But who had done them remained to be seen.
Spade, I've been expecting you. Come in, sir. I've been amusing myself with your chessboard. Sit down. Oh, you had a hectic night.
Yeah, your boys were pretty rough.
Candy and Ernest. Two men of another world, Mr. Spade, not our world. Allow me to apologize for that action.
I want more than an apology, Mr. Mortuus. And if that's my gun and it looks like it, it's got a hair trigger. And if you'll pardon me for saying so, your hands are a little shaky.
I underestimated you, Spade. Such an ingenious method of protecting the tears of night. Why, sir, by the simple expedient of placing it in an envelope and mailing it to yourself from my hotel lobby, you hired as guardians the entire United States Postal Service, not to mention the armed forces.
Thanks. What happens now?
We wait for the mail.
Just tell me where I'm wrong, will you, Mr. Mortuus? McCall wanted me to get caught with it. He didn't know it was real. You'd made a phony for him, only you found out it wasn't phony when I came to your place. Then there was a double cross.
If you can bear my vanity, I have invented a new word. Triple cross. It has a ring to it,
Oh. Including Mamie?
Mamie and her friends have been very valuable to me, but I must necessarily exclude them from sharing the profits.
Mamie knocked off Candy and Ernest?
Abetted by the last of the House of Mortuus.
You planted them in Daphne's place.
Mamie and I. A crude touch, I thought, but it had a purpose. I happen to know that Mrs. Arlington has for a long time been on the verge of a nervous breakdown. With 2 cadavers in her living room, she was very unlikely to discuss a bogus necklace with the police. And I doubt very much if she knew she was wearing the original or the imitation. Flighty girl.
That's the lousiest thing the House of Mortuus ever did. She walked in and found them.
If you had merely returned the real necklace to her, it would have been simple to make an exchange, and none of this would have been necessary. But
I know. You just sit here and wait for the mail.
We wait for the mail.
What about your other playmate?
I'm afraid I'll be sought for a murder or 2 or 3 this night. Mamie.
She got it, too?
Yes.
Where are the police going to find her?
Oh, in my hotel room, which I departed hastily once the room clerk had informed me of your ingenious method for protecting the necklace. I shot her there.
You were cheap.
Cheap, sir? I don't understand.
A $10,000 necklace? It's not quite a king's ransom, you know.
The tears of night are worth 5 times that. I'm afraid I misinformed you as to their value. I didn't want you to become suspicious.
You are a really horrible, terrifying old man. I suppose you think you'll get away with it.
I don't intend to get away with it. An old man, yes, but I intend to spend my remaining years...
They'll pick you up before you get to the airport.
I doubt that. I shall turn the tears of night into cash. And with a well-laden purse, I shall guarantee to elude the police over half the world. In 2 years, perhaps 3, they'll get me. But I'll have spent the money, and...
We have a visitor.
Caution, Spade. I do shoot well. Answer it, tell them to go away. I'll be right beside you. All right. Open it.
One side, Spade, I got a gun.
Obvious.
Mamie.
I thought I'd find you here waiting for the mail. You dirty. You didn't do such a good job on me.
Caution, my dear. I have a gun, too.
Everybody but me.
I can last long enough to let you have it.
Not so good, my dear. Your loss of blood has made you groggy.
But still good enough.
Wentworth.
It was almost a photo finish. He kind of leaned into the wall with a pained and amazed look on his face, then he seemed to try to walk.
Mr. Spade. Mr. Spade, sir, I believe I've been shot. I'll need a little assistance. I can't seem to hold my feet, sir. I can't seem to hold my feet. It was an awkward plan at best. The mortuus nil nisi bonum, Spade. Or if your second-year Latin escapes your memory, speak well today.
Period and a report.
Oh, Sam. All those people.
4 in all.
And that poor girl, Daphne. How she must have felt when she saw it. Oh, Sam.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
You poor darling.
Well, it's about time.
And you go right home. In fact, I'm going to take you home.
Yeah? Then what?
Well...
You are a registered nurse, maybe? Hmm?
Well,
Go type that up. I am completely well, and when you return, we shall Indian wrestle.
Certainly, sir.
And now, listen to this. Shopping note. Tonight or tomorrow, get a family-sized bottle or handy tube of Wild Root Cream Oil, America's favorite hair tonic.
Oh, good night, Sam.
Good night, sweetheart.
The Adventures of Sam Spade, Dashiell Hammett's famous private detective, are produced and directed by William Spear. Sam Spade is played by Howard Duff. Lorene Tuttle is Effie. The Adventures of Sam Spade are written for radio by Bob Tallman and Gil Dowd. Musical direction by Lud Gluskin, with score composed by Renee and Pierre Garrigank. Join us again next Sunday when author Dashiell Hammett and producer William Spear join forces for another adventure with Sam Spade. Brought to you transcribed by Wild Root Cream Oil. Again and again, the choice of men and women and children, too. This is Dick Joy reminding you to...
Get Wild Root Cream Oil, Charlie. It keeps your hair in trim. You see, it's non-alcoholic, Charlie. It's made with soothing lanolin. You better get Wild Root Cream Oil, Charlie. Start using it today. You'll find that you will have a tough time, Charlie. Keeping all the gals away. Hiya, Baldy. Get Wild Root right away.
This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
The Adventures of Sam Spade, Detective. Brought to you by Wild Root Cream Oil Hair Tonic, the non-alcoholic hair tonic that contains lanolin. Wild Root Cream Oil. Again and again, the choice of men and women and children, too.
Sam Spade Detective Agency?
Me, sweetheart.
Oh, Sam, I'm so glad you called.
Why?
I don't know. I always am. Was it a good case, Sam?
I didn't like it.
Where are you?
Morgue, San Mateo.
Oh, was somebody killed?
Yes?
Well, do you know who did it?
Yep.
That's good.
No, that's bad.
Bad?
Believe it or not, F, I wish I didn't know who killed who.
I don't understand. Oh, Sam, you sound so downhearted.
Well, I'm sorry. I'll try to loosen up. Stay where you are, sweetheart. I'll be right down to dictate my report on the champion caper.
Dashiell Hammett, America's leading detective fiction writer and creator of Sam Spade, the hard-boiled private eye, and William Spear, radio's outstanding producer-director of mystery and crime drama, join their talents to make your hair stand on end with the adventures of Sam Spade. Presented by the makers of Wild Root Cream Oil for the hair. Before bringing you tonight's mystery, I'm going to take 28 seconds to tell you something that isn't a mystery. It's no mystery why so many millions of men, women, and children have well-groomed hair these days when America's favorite hair tonic, Wild Root Cream Oil, costs so little. Just 25 cents will buy you a get-acquainted bottle and show you how neatly and naturally Wild Root Cream Oil grooms your hair, how it relieves annoying dryness and removes loose, ugly dandruff. Get Wild Root Cream Oil Hair Tonic. Again and again, the choice of men and women and children, too. And now, with Howard Duff starring as Spade, Wild Root brings to the air the greatest private detective of them all in the adventures of Sam Spade.
Oh, Sam, I read the afternoon paper. I don't understand it either.
Stop that.
Really, after all this time, you'd think I'd be acclimatized to all kinds of human storms. I've got my pencil already. I'm myself again. I'm ready, Sam. Sam, date? Date August 7th, 1949. To whom, Sam?
Jack Manelli.
To Detective Lieutenant Manelli, Homicide Detail, San Mateo Police. From Samuel Spade, license number 137-596. Subject. Are you listening, Sam?
Subject, the champion caper. Dear Manelli. You were there for the end of it, and I was there for the start of it, which is in the reception office of Elliot Champion's brokerage house in San Mateo, and where I first met Mildred Champion. Remember that old salve, how a woman in love is always beautiful? When I went in, I had no idea she was in love and no idea she was beautiful. Not because she had lately been crying, but her sallow face without makeup, framed in a wisp of blonde hair, wasn't flattered by the shapeless black dress, cotton stockings, and low-heeled shoes she was wearing. Certainly not the going idea of beauty. Nor did her conversation reveal anything to indicate love.
Oh, yes. May I help you?
Mr. Elliot Champion, my name's Spade.
Spade. S-P-A-D-E?
You don't have to write it. He's expecting me.
Your business, Mr. Spade?
Private.
I have to have a little more than that, I'm afraid.
Always this hot here?
Mr. Champion can't stand fresh air.
Obvious.
That's what makes it so warm in here. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it is hot. Just flip the switch and tell him I'm here.
Well, what is it, Mildred?
I was just going out. Mr. Spade is here. Says you're expecting him. But I don't find him listed in your appointment book.
Don't be an idiot. Send him in. Send him in.
You may go in now, Mr. Spade.
He always like that?
He's nice today.
Sorry, Mildred. That's your name, isn't it?
His office is the first on the right.
Don't bother. I'll find it.
Thank you. I'll just go to lunch.
Mr. Champion?
Well, don't just stand there. Come in and shut the door. What I have to discuss with you is private. I don't want that snoopy niece of mine listening to our conversation.
She's out to lunch now. But does she listen in often?
All the time. Why?
She didn't know who I was.
I outsmarted her there. I called you from the drugstore on the corner. I don't want anyone to know who you are while you're here. Oh, now, where did I put that lighter?
Behind the inkwell.
Oh, yeah. I'm a dangerous man to play games with. Joseph's found that out once, and if he keeps this business up, he's going to find it out again.
No games, you're dangerous.
Say, are you mocking me, Spade?
Just wondering what you're talking about.
I just told you. You got ears, haven't you? Joe Josephs is back in town, and I'm not going to fool around with him.
Mildred told me you were nice today.
Oh, she did she? Well, Mildred talks too much. That's what's the matter with her. She talks too much.
And you'd fire her, only she's your niece, and you'd have to pay somebody else 3 times what you pay her to take everything she has to take.
Get out of my office. Oh, no. Wait a minute, Spade. Oh, it's just hot, I guess.
Who has turned on the heat?
It's Joe Josephs. He was released from San Quentin this week. And I've been receiving telephone calls from him telling me to beware and to watch out and a lot of other nonsense.
What was he doing at San Quentin?
2 to 5 on an embezzling count. He's an ungrateful scoundrel, that's what he is. Why, I took him into my office as a junior executive, and 6 months later...
He got tired of the $20 a week you were probably paying him and decided to dip into the bin. Only he did a bad job, got caught, you testified against him, now he's out and he's sore, and he's threatening you.
And every time you yell cop around this town, there's always some snoopy reporter hanging around the sergeant's desk.
Ain't that the truth?
Listen, Spade, I've got $500,000 tied up in this business, and I don't want anybody thinking I might get knocked over by some loony with a grudge.
And that's why you didn't tell the police?
Don't you believe me?
It'll do for now. You'll think of something better.
Now, see here, impertinence is one thing...
25 a day and... No. That'll be 45 a day in expenses.
I want you to find Joe Josephs and bring him to me.
Nuisance warrant?
More than that. I've got enough stuff in that desk drawer to send him back to Quentin if I have to.
Oh, what kind of stuff?
Left over from his trial. It'll be grand larceny this time, and they don't stop at 5 years for that kind of thing.
You withheld evidence?
I withheld...
Okay, get out. My back was only 8 feet from the window, and it came through from the other building across the court. The silencer either ruined the marksman's aim, or he was just a bad shot, because out of 6 tries, he didn't connect with a thing but the desk lamp and a wastebasket. By that time, Champion and I were both on the floor, Champion on top of me. I kicked out to get loose, and he kicked me back. I gave that up and twisted around for my gun. Across the court, a window was open about 6 inches, one corner of which was full of a dark-sleeved hand and a gun arm. I fired at it from what is known as number 6 position.
It's him! It's him! Get him, Spade! Get him, Spade! What do you think I hired you for?
I didn't bother to answer him. I went through the window, onto the fire escape, and over to the next building. I did more. I went in that building, which was apparently vacant, down the stairs, and started out the back entrance.
Hey,
Oh, sorry.
Silly, watch it, will you? What's the big hurry?
Hey, he came out of this building. Which way did he go?
Who came out of what building?
This building, right here, just a second ago.
Here?
Yes.
Who?
Him.
Who?
The guy who just ran down
What did
these
he look
stairs.
like?
Well, he...
Oh, what did he look like? I say, what did he look like?
Huh?
Who?
What?
Where?
Thanks.
Don't mention it, Curly, anytime.
I couldn't tell her what he looked like because I hadn't seen him. After a careful search of the building, which revealed nothing, I decided my suspect had eluded me for good, and I returned to the office of Elliot Champion. He was sitting on his green leather chair, wearing an expression to match.
Missed him, huh, Spade?
What does Josephs look like?
Oh, I've got a couple of snapshots here somewhere. Oh, yes, here.
Let's have a look. I was later to regret having those snapshots in my person. They showed a tall, thin-faced, haunted-looking guy, an old-looking 28, good face, shock of black hair, and dark eyes. I've seen plenty of cons, embezzler type, and he wouldn't have been cast in the part in my movie. There was nothing about him to indicate that he'd embezzled $2,000 or used a silencer on a gun. I dug 238 slugs out of Champion's wall and went down to the street.
Spade! Oh, Spade!
He was a heavy-set man in a dirty white Panama hat and seersucker suit that didn't fit him around the middle.
Hey, just a minute, Spade, just a minute.
He crawled out of a black sedan, jammed a cigar in his mouth, and began sweating. He needed a shave. He'd always need a shave.
Hot afternoon, ain't it? Yes, sir, sure is hot. Sure is a hot afternoon. Here, my card.
Lemuel Drigger, Confidential Investigations.
Guess I should ought to have some new ones printed up, huh?
I guess you should order, Lem, and change the name while you're at it.
Huh?
Didn't the commissioner bounce you 9 years ago for rolling a pack before you did the booking?
Oh, let bygones be bygones, Spade. I'm in business for myself now.
How's business, Lem?
Punk.
Try another racket, Lem.
Spade, you been in to see old man Champion, maybe?
Maybe.
I was just going to go in to see him myself when I spot you pull up. I recognize you from the pictures in the paper last week. I figure maybe you and me ought to talk.
What did you figure you and me maybe ought to talk about, Lem?
Oh, you make it tough for a guy, Spade. We're in the same business, you know. What'd you go see him about?
So long, Lem.
Hey, wait a minute. I'm an old gumboot, huh? A fat old gumboot who couldn't get a trick as a housekeeper or tailing a punk. Is that it? Okay, Spade, okay. You're full of vinegar now, but just you keep my card. You want to see Lem Trigger before it's all tied up? You want to see me?
Screw Lem. But he was right. I did want to see him because when I got down to the Chronicle office and looked up a morgue on the Joe Josephs trial, the first thing that jumped out at me was the name Lemuel Drigger. Lemuel Drigger, private detective who had been employed when Mr. Champion had become suspicious of Joseph's account irregularities, and who, together with Mr. Champion, caught Josephs red-handed, and who willingly offered his testimony the same at the trial which convicted Joe Josephs to San Quentin for 5 years. The file also gave the name of Joseph's lawyer, a man named Anthony Speezer. The phone book showed an apartment address on Geary.
That you, Aggie? Hold on a minute. I was just trying to get dinner over before you showed up, but I guess I'm late tonight. Who are you?
Mr. Speezer?
That's right.
My name's Spade. I'm a private investigator. I'm trying to locate a former client of yours, a man named Josephs.
Come in, come in. I was expecting Aggie, but come in.
Thanks.
I always fix my own dinner, poached egg and half. Ulcers. Name Spade?
Yeah.
Want an egg?
No, thanks. I'm on duty.
Mind if I finish?
It's up to you.
Who's your client, Spade?
Elliot Champion. Joe Josephs is back in town, and he's been making telephone threats and throwing 38s around.
38, huh?
Mm-hmm. You know where he is?
Joe was a nice kid, but a calendar job. Born with one war going on, a depression on deck, and another war in the hold. Makes a difference. The calendar got him. Everything was against him at the trial, too. I couldn't do anything. He thought I let him down and told me so. He got real sore when they read the book at him. Threatened Champion and that private dick,
Lem Drigger.
Drigger and everybody else. Said he was railroaded.
You were his attorney?
I know, but he didn't have a chance in a million of beating that rap. He thought I ratted when I took the guilty plea in court's mercy, all for a lousy $2,000. Well, he's done his time and he's out now.
He hasn't gotten in touch with you?
Nope.
No threats?
Nope.
Have a right to you from prison?
Nope.
Any idea where he'd be in town?
Nope.
Is it possible he has a mother?
Nope.
Then I guess I leave you to Aggie.
We play records. Aggie used to be a violinist.
Well, it's up to her.
Spade. Spade.
Yeah?
If you find Joe, tell him where I live. I'd like to see him.
Why?
I don't know. Maybe I just want to see what 5 years in the pen does to a kid like that.
Yeah. I'll bet you do. Yeah?
Is this you, Mr. Spade?
Who's this?
This is Mildred Champion. Remember me in my uncle's office?
I remember.
Mr. Spade, you're looking for Joe, aren't you? Well, I know you are. You don't have to answer me. I think I can help you find him. I must talk to you right away before something terrible happens. Please come out to the house before something terrible happens. It's right in the corner.
I got out to the house as fast as I could, but not before something terrible had happened.
Spade!
The front door was open and all the lights were on, and Elliot Champion was lying at the foot of the stairs in the front hall holding his lapel as if it would get away from him.
Spade, don't touch me. Don't try to move me. It's in my lungs somewhere, and I never thought.
It didn't look like there'd be much use, but I beat it up the stairs to the hall phone to call emergency ambulance.
Hello? Hello?
What the?
This is Joe. So you hired a private eye to look me up, huh? Well, he'll never find me, but I'll find you. Yeah, Mr. Champion, I'll be seeing you real soon.
I didn't get it then, but I got it a second later. I grabbed for the banister, missed, and hit the top railing. A pair of hands held me up long enough to go through my pockets and then let me go, and that's the last thing I remember.
The makers of Wild Root Cream Oil are presenting the weekly Sunday adventure of Dashiell Hammett's famous private detective, Sam Spade. Now, here's important news on good grooming. If you want the well-groomed look that helps you get ahead, socially and on the job, listen. Recently, thousands of people from coast to coast who bought Wild Root Cream Oil for the first time were asked, how does Wild Root Cream Oil compare with the hair tonic you previously used? The results were amazing. Better than 4 out of 5 who replied said they preferred Wild Root Cream Oil. Remember, non-alcoholic Wild Root Cream Oil contains lanolin. It grooms the hair naturally, relieves dryness, and removes loose, ugly dandruff. So if you want your hair to be more attractive than ever before, get the generous new 25-cent size of Wild Root Cream Oil, America's leading hair tonic, on sale at all drug and toilet goods counters. It's also available in larger economy bottles and the handy new tube. By the way, smart girls use Wild Root Cream Oil, too, and mothers say it's grand for training children's hair. Get Wild Root Cream Oil. Again and again, the choice of men and women and children, too. And now, back to the Champion Caper. Tonight's adventure with Sam Spade.
The neighbors had complained of gunshots, which was fortunate for me. I still might have been lying at the bottom of those stairs in Champion's house, Lieutenant, if you hadn't walked in, applied first aid, asked me my name, and listened to my story. You considered the threatening phone call after my client's death as a cover-up and promptly sent out a general alarm on Joe Josephs. I took an aspirin and a taxicab for home. Halfway uptown, I discovered the pictures of Joe Josephs were missing from my wallet. And that is why I was absent at the medical examiner's inquest this morning. Instead of going home, I went out to San Mateo, jimmied the lock of Champion's office, and violated City Ordinance number 352B. My dead client's desk revealed one important item. An income tax voucher dated August 17, 1944, noting him delinquent. Then I found another important item, same for 1943. His secretary's desk was even more interesting. What I found there led me to, 1, call her home. Result, no answer. And 2, to revisit Attorney Speezer. I found him poaching another egg.
All right, I'm here. It's late, Aggie. What's the idea? Unless it's Beethoven, I don't... Oh, Spade.
Aggie ever show?
Yeah, left early. Has to work tomorrow.
Oh, it's too bad.
What's with you? Still looking for Joe?
Yep.
Any leads? Wish I could help you, Spade.
Elliot Champion was shot and killed in his home tonight.
No.
Is that all you have to say?
Joe do it?
Maybe.
Well,
you don't seem scared for a mouthpiece Joe didn't like.
if you mean should I be next, no. I'm not scared, Spade. The kid should realize by this time I liked him and did all I could.
You've been here all evening?
Aggie?
Could you prove it?
Yep.
You may have to. Did you know Mildred Champion was married to Joe Josephs?
Yeah. How'd you know? It's a secret.
I found this marriage license in her desk drawer.
Nosy, huh?
I found something else. Champion didn't pay his income taxes all the time.
A lot of people are like that, Spade. Me,
Lem Drigger testified against Joe at the trial, so did Champion. Mildred worked in the office, but she didn't testify.
Wife can't testify against husband. Real good story, Spade. But what about Joe?
Champion had something on Lem Drigger, and Drigger had something on Champion. Joe's in between. You tell me, huh?
Huh?
All right, I'll tell you. It's all about a green kid hired into a brokerage firm to be framed on a phony embezzling charge to cover up a tax delinquency. You want to finish it?
I can't. I don't know it.
You've got ideas, though.
Yeah, Spade, you're right. I've got ideas. And all of them make me sick inside. That kid stood there and told me he was innocent. He said it 1,000,000 times if he said it once. And he told me he thought Champion was short with the income tax people.
And if Champion was short, he could phony up a book and get a worn-out private detective like Drigger to testify that there'd been a fraud, and Joe takes the rap.
If that's what happened, they did it pretty good.
Did you mention anything like this at the trial?
Surmise is not admissible. There was no way to investigate it and no way to prove it. Joe was a nice kid, Spade, and he told a good story. I've been fooled a lot of times. And what do you think?
I haven't met him yet.
All right, he's done his 5 years. He came out, and now they want him for killing the man who sent him up. His whole life's gone. And for what? Spade, I hope you don't find him. I hope nobody ever finds him.
But we did find Joe Josephs, Lieutenant. He was right under our noses all the time. When I called you, you told me to come on down to the morgue of the county hospital. We both stood and looked at Joe Josephs.
It's a funny thing, Sam. We had an alarm out for an hour on this guy. We've been looking all over for him, and he turns up right here. Only he's dead. He's been dead since last night about 7.
7? Same time Champion was killed.
TB. Just got the whole story. Had it awful bad in prison on the sick ward his last 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Wanted out awful bad. When his time was up last week, he made him release him. But he wound up here, died in the hospital. He looks awful young to be a con and all. I don't know, Sam. He's just a kid, isn't he?
Up until then, you had some kind of case against Joe Josephs. But when the medical examiner reported that my client had been shot with a .32, the rest of it began to fall into place. Lem Trigger's office was a dirty room over a shoe repair shop on Mission Street. The glass on the door hadn't been washed in 5 years, and neither had anything else. You could hardly tell where the office left off and Lem began.
Oh, hello, Spade. I've been waiting for you. I thought you'd get over for some talk.
What made you think that, Lem?
Well, you're here, ain't you?
All right, let's make talk. Did the silencer ruin your gun?
Huh?
Come on. I want it all.
Hey,
You phoned tonight after Champion was killed. You've been phoning him right along saying it was Joe.
No, just a minute, Spade. We're in the same
And
racket.
you shot at him with a silencer on your 38 this afternoon to make it look real good.
You can't prove anything. I didn't kill him.
One slug out of your gun will match that up. Every cop carries a 38. You were a cop once.
Now, Spade, you got this all
you
wrong.
him because you thought he'd called you in for protection. He called you in once on another job.
Listen, I know what you're thinking,
And
but
business was so bad you had to drum it up, didn't you? Joseph was released from prison and it was a natural, only it didn't work. Champion called me instead, and you tried to shake me down.
Well, I only thought we could kind of work together. Make it a good thing.
I told you once you should try another racket. But you didn't take my advice. Now you're going to have to.
What do you mean?
Because your license will be revoked pretty quick. You got into a lot of trouble about 2 minutes from now.
I did? I was right here. What are you trying to do?
I swore out a complaint on you for assault and battery.
Hey, wait a minute. I ain't done nothing to you. Champion's dead, and
yes,
I tell
you did, Lem. You tried to strike me, and I had to defend myself. And I did make out a complaint, Lieutenant. I phoned your office, and 2 of your men were on the way out to pick him up when I heard a footstep outside the door. I knew who was there and what she was there for, and I did the only thing I could think of at the moment. And it was lucky I did it. Her own 32 was in her hand when she came in the door. She looked at me, and Lem's smoking gun in my hand, looked at him, stretched out on the floor, then she looked back at me, and the gun fell from her hand, and she began to cry. Hello, Mildred.
I wanted to do it. I came here to do it.
I know.
Why? Why did you?
To stop you.
Why?
My bullets went into the ceiling. He's just knocked out.
No, he ought to be dead. Dead.
No. Not anymore, Mildred.
You tricked me. You knew I was coming here. And you know he should die. You know it.
That won't bring Joe back.
How many real tramps have you met in your life, Mr. Spade?
Lots. And some who just thought they were.
Well, you met the genuine product yesterday. My uncle, for example. He stole money from himself and made it look like Joe did it.
I know about that.
And this one? Why didn't you let me kill him, too? Why?
Easy.
When I went over to see him in the hospital the first time, I knew he was dying. He had that look in his eyes, helpless. And he knew what they'd done to him, and he couldn't do anything about it.
But you figured that you could. So you killed your uncle when you found out Joe died, and you came here to kill Lem.
They killed him. They killed Joe, and they sent him to prison. 5 years I waited for him to get out of that awful place. I waited to hold him in my arms and tell him it was all over. 5 years I waited to help him forget his hate, my hate. 5 years I loved him so much every day.
Oh, easy.
And then he came back to me the way he did. Those pictures were all I had left of him after 5 years of waiting, loving him. Now he's dead. What can you or I or anybody do about what they've done to him? Look at me, Mr. Spade. Go ahead, look at me. I'm not what you'd call beautiful. I'm not even very pretty. Nobody would ever look at me twice. Well, Joe looked at me. And he loved me. Now he's dead. And I'm dead inside. I'm dead inside, and I'll be glad when I'm dead outside.
Period and a report.
How sad. They were so unhappy.
Yeah. Add a notation that I won't be around for the coroner's inquest.
Sam, you can't do
This
that.
report, when duly notarized, should be admissible as testimony. I want to get out of town for a few days. Sour racket.
And now, listen to this. Later this evening, if you happen to stroll down to the corner for cigarettes or ice cream, why not also pick up some Wild Root Cream Oil Hair Tonic? Your whole family will like the way Wild Root Cream Oil grooms the hair neatly and naturally, relieves dryness, and removes loose dandruff. And ask your barber for a professional application of Wild Root Cream Oil Hair Tonic. Again and again, the choice of men and women and children, too.
course you didn't.
Are you really serious about getting out of town for a few days?
I am.
The world's too much with you, huh, Sam?
Effie.
I know it's poetry, Sam, but it seems kind of appropriate right now. I don't care if she did kill those two men. I feel sorry for her.
What's that got to do with poetry?
Well, it's kind of poetic justice.
Oh.
Why did she dress the way she did in that black dress and low heels?
A form of penance, I guess. A mourning, absence of her missing lover. Yeah, no. Look, you'll have to type it all over if you keep that up.
But, Sam, it's all so beautiful and tragic.
Yeah.
And you watched it all happen with such understanding. I'm so proud of you. Oh, Sam.
Come on now, come on. Dry up and go home.
Good night, Sam.
Good night, sweetheart.
The Adventures of Sam Spade, Dashiell Hammett's famous private detective, are produced and directed by William Spear. Sam Spade is played by Howard Duff. Lorene Tuttle is Effie. Tonight's adventure with Sam Spade was written for radio by E. Jack Newman. Music was directed by Lud Gluskin, with score composed by Renee and Pierre Garrigang. Join us again next Sunday when author Dashiell Hammett and producer William Spear join forces for another adventure with Sam Spade. Brought to you by Wild Root Cream Oil. Again and again, the choice of men and women and children, too. This is Dick Joy reminding you to
get Wild Root Cream Oil, Charlie. It keeps your hair in trim. You see, it's non-alcoholic, Charlie. It's made with soothing lanolin. You better get Wild Root Cream Oil, Charlie. Start using it today. You'll find that you will have a tough time, Charlie, keeping all the gals away. Hiya, Charlie. Get Wild Root right away.
This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System. The Adventures of Sam Spade, Detective. Brought to you by Wild Root Cream Oil Hair Tonic, the non-alcoholic hair tonic that contains lanolin. Wild Root Cream Oil. Again, and women and children, too.
Detective Agency?
Me, sweetheart.
Oh, Sam! It must be telepathy. I was just thinking of you. You know, sometimes I think I can tell what you're thinking.
That's an invasion of my privacy.
Oh, when two people are as close as you and I think that often you can almost read one another's minds.
Well, you may be right. I can see what you're doing all the way from here.
What?
Put those paper clips back where you found them.
Oh, certainly, Sam.
Own up, Eph. You purloined pencils, absconded with erasers, pilfered stationery, filched stamps for your personal use.
I only write to Mother when there's nothing else to do around the office.
Besides making unit phone calls and charging them to me, you've tapped the petty cash drawer for lunch money.
Sam!
And you've been filling your pen with company ink.
I didn't think you'd mind, Sam. I'll pay it all back.
But I have a big heart and boundless compassion. Stay where you are, sweetheart. I'll be down on my unlimited generosity with your back salary.
Really, Sam?
And 2 tickets for us to go to the fights tonight, and dinner. And last, but by no means least, my stirring and vivid report on the Prodigal Daughter Caper.
Dashiell Hammett, America's leading detective fiction writer and creator of Sam Spade, the hard-boiled private eye, and William Spear, radio's outstanding producer-director of mystery and crime drama, join their talents to make your hair stand on end with the adventures of Sam Spade. Presented by the makers of Wild Root Cream Oil for the hair. Here's a smart resolution to make. First day back on the job after your summer vacation. From now on, every single day, I'm going to pay special attention to the way I look. I'm going to use Wild Root Cream Oil Hair Tonic. Yes, folks, smart's the word for that resolution. For Wild Root Cream Oil grooms your hair neatly and naturally, relieves dryness, and removes loose dandruff. It helps give you that successful look that's so important to getting ahead. So, if you've never tried Wild Root Cream Oil, get the 25-cent get-acquainted bottle. Wild Root Cream Oil Hair Tonic. Again and again, the choice of men and women and children, too. And now, with Howard Duff starring as Spade, Wild Root brings to the air the greatest private detective of them all in the adventures of Sam Spade.
I need you. Effie!
Yes, Sam. Oh, hi, Sam. Hiya, Sam.
Come on. Bring your book. Got a pencil? We gotta hurry if we're gonna make the fight, you know.
Oh, I've got one of the new retractor kind of pencils.
Well, get the lead out.
Are you really going off the post, Sam?
It's Man McShelly versus Cluck-Faced Duffy in the main event. Ready?
McDuffie. Sounds like an MP.
McShelly. What?
Aim and fire, Sam. PBX.
F, you've been out with somebody else. A military man.
Well, how did you ever know?
Date, August 28-1949. I don't know whether we'll go out or not.
You're clairvoyant.
To Dr. Albert Kensington from Samuel Spade.
I only had a coke with him, Sam. He was on Frillo, and we...
And license number 137596. Subject?
And he was from Elkhart, Indiana. And I used to live in Pleasant Lake, and...
Down! Down, Effie. Subject, Helen Scully of the Prodigal Daughter. A coke yet. Dear Doctor, everyone in San Francisco knows the castle-type hill house that Casper Scully lived in, even if they didn't know him. When I got there was an all-black 49 convertible in the driveway, and slightly smaller, same color, a Russian wolfhound wearing a spiked collar and expression to match. He broke his chain when he saw me and ran in the back of the house. That should have told me something, but I plunged the doorbell and was admitted by a butler named Stanley, who left me standing in a draft in the library, looking at a cold television set. I pulled up my coat collar, took a plant in front of the fireplace, and lit a cigarette. Pretty soon, things started. A blonde girl in a yellow suit was having a one-sided argument with a gray-haired man in a gray suit. Nobody paid any attention to me.
Stuff about how you forbid it and it can't go on. Well, let me tell you, it can go on just as long as I want it to. And there's nothing you can do about it, so don't, whatever you do, try to interfere. Oh, stop it. That hurt look again. I've seen it too often, and I'm sick of it. Do you hear me? I'm sick of it.
He looked mad, but he didn't say anything. I saw them walk around the garden once, shake fists at each other, and finally part. He disappeared up a narrow stairway, and she came storming back through the library.
Who are you?
How do you do?
Who are you?
Sam Spade.
What are you doing here?
Waiting to talk to Mr. Scully.
Well, I just talked to him, and he isn't very nice. Let me tell you that.
Yes,
He's
but
a nasty, stubborn, bull-headed old man, and you won't like him.
Yes, but
Nobody likes him. Go back where you came from, whatever your name is. I'm the nicest person you'll meet around this place.
Yes, but...
Don't wait around. Oh, goodbye.
But I did wait around, Dr. Kensington, and I did talk to Mr. Scully when you came in the room with him, only Mr. Scully did not talk to me. He glared at me through black, smoldering eyes, sniffed the air, frowned at my cigarette. I frowned back.
Mr. Spade, I'm Dr. Kensington. I wrote you the letter. This is Mr. Scully. Oh, please, this cigarette. Mr. Scully suffered a severe accident many years ago that affected his throat and his respiratory tract. The smoke.
Oh, of course, I understand, Doctor. Sorry, Mr. Scully, I did...
Yes, thank you, Spade. This is not generally known, but the unfortunate accident in the chemical plant also robbed Mr. Scully of his vocal power.
I see.
Yes, the modern doctor, the physician of today, is a far cry from the general practitioner of yesteryear. Today, we must know the mind, the psychological quirks, well, he must follow through completely on a case. He is sometimes, as I am today, a confidant, an executive officer for his patient. He is a friend, to say the least, eh?
Oh, yes, to say the least.
Eh? Oh, of course, Mr. Scully, to the point, of course. Sit down, Spade.
Oh, thanks.
Now then, Mr. Scully, as you well know, and the world knows, has made several fortunes in his lifetime. And he didn't accomplish this by allowing people to run roughshod over him. But, Mr. Scully, I'm just backgrounding Mr. Spade. Please be patient. Mr. Scully intends leaving his daughter Helen his entire fortune. A great deal of money, to say the least.
Say the least. But Helen doesn't care about the money. She's foolish, young, headstrong, and impetuous.
Huh?
I heard her arguing with Mr. Scully a bit.
Now, Mr. Scully. We'll straighten all this out. Mr. Spade will help us. Well, then, Spade, you have half the problem right there. She is a headstrong, impetuous girl. And lately she's done several things to displease her father. Right, Mr. Scully? You see, Mr. Spade.
Oh, I gather that much, but what kind of things?
Helen's been singing in a cheap nightclub called the Blue Goose.
What?
Oh, it's very embarrassing.
Low class, eh?
Yes. There's a man named Torpy. He owns the club.
A man named Chick Torpy?
Ah, you know of him?
I've heard of him.
Contrary to all her father's wishes, Helen insists on seeing this man Torpy.
Mm-hmm. How old is she?
Well, that's beside the point, Mr. Spade. But a sordid affair now might rob her of a future of wealth and security. Mr. Scully's at the point of exasperation. He might well change his will over this matter. Correct, Mr. Scully? At best, this is an embarrassing situation, and most indiscreet of Helen to have brought it about.
So, I'm supposed to go talk to Chick Torpy, is that it?
In a word, yes. Mm-hmm. Well, you sound rather reluctant, Mr. Spade.
Chick Torpy's a little too old for the Boy Scouts.
Well, we want you to see him. Find out how much you'll take to stop seeing Helen.
Tell me, what happens if Torpy isn't for sale?
Oh, everyone has a price. Spade, matter of character. You get paid for work like this, that's your price.
Yeah, that reminds me. 50 a day and expenses. 5 days guarantee, to say the least.
Of course, to say the least.
And, Mr. Scully, I happen to have a standard client's contract with me here. If you'll just sign on both pages, I'm sure that...
Never mind, Spade, not now. Mr. Scully will mail it to you later on today. Oh, dear, Mr. Scully's fatigued. Well, you'll contact me as soon as you have any information for us.
I said I would. Mr. Scully sounded a final cough, and I left the two of you in the library. It was interesting, meeting this voiceless tycoon who must have made and broken many a man with a nod of his head or a shrug of his shoulders. The same black dog with the same spiked collar was still outside the house doing the same thing.
Ah, Spade. Mr. Spade?
But something new had been added. A pair of well-tailored shoulders, diamond stick pin, and a gray felt hat with a snap brim.
Hello, Spade. You don't know me.
Now, wait a minute. There's something about a guy in a lineup. You're Dapper Danny Cavillo. When'd you get out of Folsom, Danny?
A while back. They gave me a kind of rain check.
Mm-hmm. Wouldn't that 38 make you a parole breaker?
Oh, is that showing?
Unless your ribs grow in different directions.
Sam, I'm here to save you a lot of trouble.
What trouble are you here to save me?
You want to see Chick Torpy, don't you? You've got business to talk with him, no?
News gets around fast, Danny.
No. No, it's just that Chick had been expecting somebody like you from the old man, and, well, I'm here to see that you see him. So, why don't you kind of get in the car?
And I kind of did. Danny smiled, lit a cigarette, shifted his shoulder holster so I could shift gears better, and drove me back across town to an apartment house on LaSalle, the Metropolitan. A good-looking guy who stood about 6'4", black hair, answered the knock.
Hello, Chick. May I present Sam Spade? Sam Spade, meet Chick Torpy.
That'll do it, Danny, thanks. Hello, Spade. Come on in.
See you, gentlemen.
Danny's Gabby.
Hello, Chick. Your taxi service always free?
Just when I'm in a hurry to get things settled, soldier. You saw the old man today, huh?
I saw him and talked to his doctor, Kensington.
All right. You're here to tell me how worried the old man is, right?
If you're talking about Helen and you, yes. You're bad company.
Yeah. What else?
He wants you to stop seeing her.
Well, suppose I don't want to stop seeing her. Suppose I told you I love her.
Let's see. She comes into $3 million when he kicks. You love her.
I'd be crazy if I didn't.
I wonder what she'd say if she heard you say that.
Why'd you ask her, Spade?
Helen?
Hello, Mr. Spade. Told you to leave my house today, but you didn't listen.
Vince Spade?
Well, I'm wondering, anyway.
Maybe this will help. When you get back to my father, tell him I think Chick'd be a fool to brush me off. Tell him that someday I expect to inherit all of that wonderful money he spent a lifetime making. Tell him that Chick's tired of working. Got all that?
Yep.
How do you feel, Spade?
Like I'm earning my fee.
Oh, you've already earned it, Spade. There's no use trying. I've told her myself, now you can tell him. She's not for sale, and I'm not for sale. Got it?
You got it.
All right, then you're finished here. Hello. Oh, you. Well, I'm not sure I want to talk to him. Give him a pill
And it was on that happy note, Doctor, that I went downstairs, found a drugstore, and tried to phone you and tell you what Torpy had said. Your line was busy, and while I was waiting for it to get unbusy, I spotted Chick Torpy out in front. He looked madder than when I'd left him, and there was a bulge in his coat that hadn't been there before. He got into a black sedan near the curb, and I hailed a cab and followed him across town up to Nob Hill. A half a block from the Scully residence, I left my taxi and took the rest on foot. He was still a couple of 100 feet ahead of me as he disappeared into the garden entrance. I heard a cry for help, and then Chick was standing over something on the ground. When he saw me, he shrieked for a break in the hedge. I stopped long enough to have a look at the body he'd left. My client. He still had gray hair, and he was still wearing the gray suit, but half his face had been shot away.
The makers of Wild Root Cream Oil are presenting the weekly Sunday adventure of Dashiell Hammett's famous private detective, Sam Spade. Remember, non-alcoholic Wild Root Cream Oil contains lanolin. It grooms the hair naturally, relieves dryness, and removes loose, ugly dandruff. So if you want your hair to be more attractive than ever before, get the generous new 25-cent size of Wild Root Cream Oil, America's leading hair tonic, On sale at all drug and toilet goods counters. It's also available in larger economy bottles and the handy new tube. By the way, smart girls use Wild Root Cream Oil, too, and mothers say it's grand for training children's hair. Get Wild Root Cream Oil. Again and again, the choice of men and women and children, too. And now, back to the Prodigal Daughter Caper. Tonight's adventure with Sam Spade.
My 5-day contract arrived in the morning mail signed by Casper Scully. The headlines were no surprise. Chick Torpy sought in shooting of multimillionaire. Item: ballistics matched up slugs taken from body with weapon owned and licensed to one Chick Torpy. And item: because of a city ordinance regarding disposition, the body of Casper Scully, found off the immediate premises of his home, had been removed to the city morgue and would remain there until claimed by nearest of kin.
Hey, Sammy, my boy. It's good to look on you.
Hello, Maxie.
What brings you, Sam?
Scully stuff.
Oh, yeah. Checked him back in. Autopsy. Were you in with this, Sam? Do you know Scully?
I just met him yesterday.
Like I say to you before, you do collect queer ones, eh, Sam? Oh, such a mess. Woo-hoo, such a mess.
Yeah, I know. I found him. They tell me he has to be claimed.
City ordinance, Sam. Nearest of kin.
It would be his daughter, Helen. She called or anything?
No, not yet. But to get back to him, a real queer one. Maybe the tops this season.
How so?
Barbarianism, Sam. That's what it is. The world is moving backwards. You can get deader than dead.
Huh?
You'd think the slugs in his chest would be enough, but no. 4 also in the head, too. Kill him twice.
Say it again, Maxie. You mean that...
Twice, Sammy. In the chest, maybe 20 to 30 hours ago. In the head, maybe 12 hours later. You see what I mean?
I saw what he meant. I didn't like what I saw, but things did begin to make some sense. From the morgue, I phoned the Chronicle office, confirmed that Scully did suffer from a throat ailment, was publicity shy, was never interviewed or photographed for that reason. I asked them if they had a specimen of his handwriting by any chance, and they did. I had it sent to me by special messenger, and the signature, compared to the one of my 5-day contract with Mr. Scully, made interesting reading. But what was even more interesting was the DOA Maxie was ushering in.
As I was saying, Sam, it's awful the way these homicides are turning up nowadays. In gray suits, it's fashionable now.
Hey.
What's the matter, Sam? You know him?
Yeah, I know him. What's it say?
The toe tag says unidentified, accidental drowning. Found off Pier 14, time 8:15 this a.m.
Accidental drowning.
You don't think so? Why do you think he's dead?
I think he's dead because he didn't cough when the doctor asked him to. I left Maxie to his newest customer and looked up the police officer who had found the unidentified man. All they had on him was New York clothing labels and a silver identification bracelet with name Julio engraved on it between 2 small indentations of the comedy tragedy drama masks. It wasn't much, but it took me to a theater on Post Street featuring a special company of Spanish actors on tour.
I am the manager of the company. What is it, please?
I'm sorry to trouble you. I'm trying to locate a certain man. I have good reason to believe he's with your company.
We are a small group. His name, please?
One name might be Julio.
Oh, Julio de Vaca. He's...
Gray-haired, medium build?
You are from the police?
No.
If you are looking for Julio de Vaca, why are you not from the police? 2 days ago, Julio, who does not speak any English, is asked of all things to appear on the television program.
Mm-hmm.
Here is his line. I am proud. But yesterday morning, a man on the telephone, they speak, and Julio goes out with no word. I, too, am looking for him. He missed his performance the afternoon.
I see.
He drinks too much sometimes, I know, and he missed the evening. Where he is, this I do not know. But if you find him...
I have found him.
You have found?
Does he have a wife?
I am the Senora de Vaca. What is it, senor? What has happened to my husband?
You'd better get your coat, Mrs. Sederbacher. I went back to the morgue with Mrs. Sederbacher, doctor, and after that I went over to the Blue Goose Club.
Oh, you Spade?
Tired, Danny boy, tired.
Well, come on in and relax.
Nice place. You run it for Chick?
When he's away.
Seen Chick lately?
2 sets of cops, 3 reporters have been here asking the same question already this morning. What are you trying to prove?
Chick's in trouble. You're his partner.
Uh-huh. Now, he got himself into this one, Spade. Look, we make a nice dollar running this place. It's legitimate. And no cop's going to raid us or close us up. Chick started fooling around with that Scully woman. And I told him just once. It's dynamite, I said. You know how the old man is. Let bygones be bygones. But Chick didn't listen.
Tell me about the bygones that should be bygones and why Chick should know how the old man is.
Well, Scully sent him up 5 years ago. Didn't you know?
No, I didn't.
Oh, Chick owned some property south of Rosito, and Scully wanted it for oil drilling or something. Chick asked too much, and Scully figured a way to get it from him in court. Had it condemned or something.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Chick got kind of sore. He met the old man on the street one day, and, well, they convicted Chick of attempted murder. 2.5 years.
And Chick looked up Scully's daughter when he got out of prison and started making love to her to get even.
Why, yes, Spade. That's just the way it started. Only Chick was the sucker after all. He really went for the creature. He married her 3 weeks ago in Reno, the poor sap.
Anybody else know about that part of it?
Only me. I was best man.
By the way, Danny, did you rap Julio Cedebaca over the head last night and toss him in the bay?
Who's Julio, whatever his name is?
An actor who happened to look something like old man Scully, enough like him to keep his mouth closed when I was there, but who might want to open it later.
I don't know what you're talking about, Spade.
Didn't think you would.
But I don't like it.
Yeah, boss.
Timmy? Joe?
Yeah.
Throw this bum out. I'm sick of looking at him.
Get out.
And they did. It was 2 against 1, and I'd been up late the night before. I was doing very well, though, until somebody stooped to a form of subterfuge I have long since grown to hate. I was borne on 2 swarthy shoulders out of the club and into the open air. I was on a balcony, and a good stiff sea breeze was blowing. I didn't enjoy it long.
1, 2, 3.
The water was cold but refreshing, and I managed to swim the 5 feet to shore. And that was my limit. I hung onto a slippery piling which supported the blue goose above me and partially hid the antechamber in front of me. It had been a wine cellar once and a loading dock, I suspected, during Prohibition. This time it was a hideout.
Keep your hands up, Spade. Close the door.
Chick, please.
Keep out of this, Helen.
You're crazy, Torpy. You got this all wrong.
Mr. Spade's right.
There's probably a $5,000 reward out for me right now. They want me dead or alive, and you're here to tell me how wrong I am. Well, it'll be dead, Spade. They'll never take me, and you aren't going to.
Listen to reason.
I've listened to all the reason I'm going to listen to. From now on, I'm doing things my way. I got nothing to lose now. I'm getting out of here. So long, baby. It's been great.
He leaned over to kiss her goodbye, and that is when I rediscovered that my wet revolver, even though it wouldn't fire, still had plenty of power left.
Mr. Spade, thank you. Thanks for doing that.
As you know, Doctor, I turned Chick Torpy over to the police along with Danny Cavillo and took Helen Scully home. She ran upstairs with many tears, and I met you in the library. You seemed relieved when you heard that Torpy had been apprehended. However, I had some other questions to ask. You answered.
All right, Spade, all right. I suppose it'll all come out anyway. 2 nights ago, Chick Torpy came to the house to have it out with Mr. Scully. He told him about their marriage. There was an argument. I was the only one in the house. I heard shots, ran in the room, and found Mr. Scully dead. The marriage certificate was in his hand. I knew this would involve Helen, and so I did what I did. Oh, it was a nightmare. I hid the body, hoping to find a way, perhaps a death certificate on accidental shooting or something.
In other words, you were helping Torpy get away with murder.
Yes, but I was thinking only of Helen. Her father did love her.
But you'd already sent a letter to me. You knew I'd be here the next morning. You'd seen an actor on a television program. He resembled Scully. You hired him for a job. You told Helen that Chick had killed her father and told her what kind of acting she had to do.
Oh, it was crude, perhaps, but I didn't want you to become suspicious when a death report did show up. I intended to hire you and fire you.
Only it didn't work out. I followed Torpy here and found the body.
Oh, I've been such a fool, Spade. Helping a man get away with murder, I want to confess it all. I suppose this will make me an accessory to murder.
Not exactly.
You mean there's a way out?
There's a way out, and you were going to take it.
What?
I was over to your apartment before I came here. You're all moved out. The doorman tells me your luggage has been at the station all morning. What'd you do? Came here to rifle the safe?
No, see, here's Spade.
Stop it. You were waiting around to see if they took Torby dead or alive. Dead, he couldn't talk, and you'd be okay. Alive, you're ready to blow town. You bumped Scully.
No.
Get back there. Then you did your best to hang it on a chick. Helen thought he really did it and played along with you. You're not an accessory to murder. You're a murderer on a double count. That actor was knocked on the head before he drowned.
Oh, just a minute, Spade. This can be fixed if you...
Shut up. Period. End of report.
Sam, I don't understand.
What, Angel?
I don't understand, Sam.
What?
Well, you say you turned Chick Torpy over to the police, yet Dr. Kensington was the murderer.
A formality, F. He will be released and cleared in short order. Anything else?
Well, yes. What about Danny Corvillo?
An innocent bystander.
But he had you beat up and knocked on the head.
And he has already made amends with those tickets for the fights. No more questions, F. Type this up and I'll give you the happy ending.
And now, listen to this. School days will soon be here, mothers. To make sure Junior's hair is always neat and well-groomed, get after those cowlicks and stray strands with Wild Root Cream Oil, the famous hair tonic that grooms the hair neatly and naturally, relieves dryness, and removes loose, ugly dandruff. And remind Dad to ask his barber for a professional application of Wild Root Cream Oil Hair Tonic. Again and again, the choice of men and women and children, too.
What is it?
Look, Sam, look.
What is it?
Look, Sam, look.
All right, I shall rephrase the question. What? Oh, I see. You mean the magazine look, huh?
They said an advance copy. It's not even out till next Tuesday.
What's it doing here?
Oh, look at them. See these?
Who? Who are these people here?
That's Sam Spade.
What?
On the radio. You know, Howard Duff. He plays you on the radio.
Howard Duff. Why don't I play it on the radio?
You're not the type, I guess.
Yeah, look here. Sam Spade dictating to Effie. Hey, she's not bad, you know. Not bad.
Oh, really? That actressy, I thought.
What is it?
Levine Tuttle. Levine. The name is so actressy.
As Bill Spear, Spade producer, gives final instructions. Look at him. He has 9 o'clock shadow. Well, come on. Let's get out of here. Go to the fights.
Oh, Sam. Then I can't say it.
Say what?
Well, if you're taking me to the fights, I can't very well leave and say good night, Sam, can I?
Well, you can try. It's expected, you know.
All right. Good night, Sam.
Grins. Good night, sweetheart.
The Adventures of Sam Spade, Dashiell Hammett's famous private detective, are produced and directed by William Spear. Sam Spade is played by Howard Duff. Lorene Tuttle is Effie. Tonight's adventure with Sam Spade was written for radio by E. Jack Newman. Musical direction by Lud Gluskin, with score composed by Pierre and Renee Garrigang. Join us again next Sunday when author Dashiell Hammett and producer William Spear join forces for another adventure with Sam Spade. Brought to you by Wild Root Cream Oil. Again and again, the choice of men and women and children, too. This is Dick Joy reminding you to...
Get Wild Root Cream Oil, Charlie. It keeps your hair in trim. You see, it's non-alcoholic, Charlie. It's made with soothing lanolin. You better get Wild Root Cream Oil, Charlie. Start using it today. You'll find that you will have a tough time, Charlie. Keeping all the gals away. Hiya, Charlie. Get Wild Root right away.
This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Cerebral Cinema hopes you have enjoyed this movie of the mind.